I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Talks to formalize the ceasefire agreement with Iran are still set to begin this weekend in Pakistan. Vice President J.D. Vance, envoy Steve Witkoff, and Jared Kushner, they'll be representing the U.S. President Trump, meantime, is exploring punishment for the NATO countries that turn their backs on the U.S. ABC's Mary Bruce.
As negotiators try to wind down this conflict, the president continues to vent his frustration with NATO allies for not supporting his war effort. An administration official telling ABC News the U.S. is weighing plans to shift troops away from countries that were seen as being unhelpful during this conflict.
Those troops would be moved to countries that were more supportive, according to the Wall Street Journal. A so-called three strikes bill that made it through the Tennessee House has been derailed in the Senate. News 2's Jaxie Pigeon.
The legislation would have set up a point system, or strikes, for certain violent crimes. Once a defendant reached 3 strikes, including at least 2 serious violent crimes, they could face a mandatory life sentence. The measure covered dozens of offenses, from second-degree murder to human trafficking and child sex crimes. It also included a small break, allowing some strikes to be reduced if someone went years without a conviction.
That bill is backed by House Speaker Cameron Sexton. It was shot down by Chattanooga Republican Senator Todd Gardenhire, who claimed it didn't have funding attached to it. It's not likely to be resurrected. An explosion in East Nashville has severely injured a man. The Nashville Fire Department were called to a business in the 900 block of Main Street yesterday, and that's where they found no fire, but they did find the man who was burned and a collapsed wall. This witness spoke to Channel 4.
I looked outside. There was a big puff of smoke and dust from the side of the building caved in. He just came outside, seemed pretty chill. He didn't seem like he was stressed out or anything. Maybe it's just like adrenaline from what just happened.
It turns out that man was stripping a floor using acetone when he lit a cigarette, which caused the explosion. The man was transported to the hospital. We don't have word on his condition today. And more Americans filing for unemployment benefits last week. The Labor Department saying 219,000 filed last week. That's 16,000 more than the week before. Now, these filings came before Iran, Israel, and the U.S. announced a 2-week ceasefire deal that injected a degree of optimism into the global economy. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Stocks are trading lower now. The Dow Jones Industrial is down 51 points. Oil is back up over $100 a barrel. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
We need to build a wall, and it has to be built quickly.
Good morning. It is 9:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Do you know why you need a water softener? Does anybody have any idea why?
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
There it is.
That's a reason, betterwater.com. So my kids were talking to my wife yesterday, and they said, oh, maybe we can go to the river this weekend and catch some frogs. And I looked at my wife, and I said, I don't like the chemicals they're putting in that water. And my wife said, stop. I said, okay, sorry.
Gay frogs.
I didn't get to that part.
Well, yeah, I know. That's why I had to throw it in there.
I cut it off.
Yeah, I don't do that.
I have a prayer request.
Okay.
This one's personal. Virginia left. She left me.
For how long?
She's going to be back Monday night.
You're a drama queen.
She left in the middle of the night, Joan.
Because that's what her flight was.
She didn't even give me any notice. I said, this is real? And she said, I've been telling you about it for weeks. I said, I wasn't paying attention. She's like, I wrote everything down, I know. I said,
It's taped to the fridge.
So it's just me and 4 kids. And I'm a little nervous. You got baseball and play practice and snacks. I have to give these kids snacks.
What?
You have to work the snack stand?
No, I don't know what I'm going to do, Joan. I don't know. I gotta review my notes.
Did you fly out?
And then I'll figure out what to do.
Always refer to the notes.
She flew out this morning. Well, she didn't. She flew out at like 6 a.m., but she left at like 3:30.
Oh, that's basically last night.
Yeah, and so I'm very tired. It's not off to a good start, and I'm already lost. I'm already lost without this woman.
That's
no,
good.
honestly, that doesn't surprise me.
That's a good thing.
The kid said to me, they said, is Mom going to come back? I said, I don't know.
I don't know anymore.
I said, let's talk to her by day 2 and let's see how she's feeling, because with all this peace and quiet, there's a chance she doesn't.
Realizes it's a little too peaceful. She's like, no, I kind of like this.
You know, she's in St. Croix for her sister's birthday.
Cool.
And I'm very jealous. I'm going to be going in June, though. So,
going to St. Croix in June?
Yeah.
By
Without
yourself or the whole fam?
No, I don't get that. I don't get that luxury.
Okay.
No, we're going with the whole squad.
I'm
taking off. So I don't feel like I take too many vacations.
No.
I'm not like Murphy over here who's taking off every other Friday to golf. But
got to golf, or you got to go on a motorcycle trip or whatever he does.
Yeah, whatever he does.
It's a unicycle, I'm pretty sure.
The dink lifestyle, the double income, no kids. You know, I don't have that kind of luxury. But yeah, so I'll be off in June.
Guess who's filling in for you?
I've heard, and you know what? I'm a bit nervous because this is something I learned from Matt Murphy. They say, this is what Matt told me. He said, no matter what, you never let somebody fill in for you who's more talented than you. And I said, bet. That is some good advice.
That's why Mason's not filling in for you.
Well,
I was going to say, you should put me to fill in. It'll be floundering the show.
We had a big show meeting yesterday with the new suit.
Yeah.
And new suit tells me Joan Jones is filling in, and I said, damn it.
Let's go.
I said, vacation is ruined because it's going to be an extended vacation because they're never going to want me back.
Yeah, right.
They'll
be begging for you to come back.
Lies.
But me and Mason, we're going to get through.
We're going to have a great time.
I highly doubt that. So circle your calendar.
What are those days so I can star them and make sure I mark it off?
I don't even know.
You just better be here, Mason.
I have to review my notes. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing right now. All right, so yeah, Virginia's gone. That's the big story here. She left in the middle of the night with barely any notice.
Woe is you.
And
hold on. Oh, you know what this fits for?
What?
Oh, there you go.
Chris Hand's wife.
I was sitting there alone as I drank my black coffee. And I wondered if is she ever going to come back?
Do you remember the outline of her face?
I do.
Remember the sound of her voice?
Yeah.
The pillow still smells like her. So, we'll get through it. You know, they say these challenges in life, It's what shapes you.
Yeah.
You know?
If you need help at church, I'm right there for you.
I called out to God this morning, and he didn't answer, but I remembered the teacher is always silent when they're testing you. So I just have to, iron sharpens iron, baby. That's what we're going to do.
You got this.
So if you see me and my eyes are a little bit more shifted to the side come Monday, it's because I've been shooting side eye at the kids all weekend long.
Bags under the eyes.
We'll get through it. Don't you worry. Are we going to get through the Iran conflict? Heck of a radio segue, if I do say so myself. It's a pat on my back. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Well, Virginia's not here to do it, Mason. I got to do it. So,
Gotta step it up.
are we going to get through this? As of right now, the Strait of Hormuz is closed. Pool's closed, everybody. Pool's closed.
U.S. ships, aircraft, and military personnel with additional ammunition, weaponry, and anything else that is appropriate and necessary for the lethal prosecution and destruction of an already substantially degraded enemy will remain in place in and around Iran until such time as the real agreement reached is fully complied with. The president went on to say, which is, if for any reason it is not, which is highly unlikely, then the shooting starts. Now, all U.S. ships,
So that was a statement from Donald Trump saying, listen, while we're negotiating, you are going to still see a military presence in the Middle East. Again, as of right now, the Strait of Hormuz isn't reopened. President Trump says he will hit Iran hard if it isn't opened and a deal isn't reached. The Strait of Hormuz has been closed since that ceasefire was struck, and it's been 48 hours now with the ceasefire going on. Strait of Hormuz is still closed. Oil prices ticking back up, but you saw how quickly they fell yesterday. As soon as this does start having some ships flow through, we're going to see the price of oil drop again.
negotiations are set to start in Islamabad, Pakistan. This is the situation. The Strait of Hormuz right now appears to be closed. Additionally, the atomic energy chief for Iran says that they will continue to enrich uranium in direct contradiction to what President Trump said yesterday. And just moments ago, Iran's president, Masoud Pezeshkian, said the negotiations will be meaningless if the Israelis continue their operation against Hezbollah. Guys?
Yeah, Trey, the president also said in that same statement, according to Reuters, we will not abandon the Lebanese people. So, I mean, the deal is over before we even start.
Look, the Iranians are known for not being good faith negotiators, and this is the challenge for the Trump administration. We heard yesterday Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary at the White House, laying out the U.S. plan to send a top-tier delegation to Islamabad, led by the vice president, J.D. Vance, with special envoys Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, to try and get a deal done. The president, once again, is extending an olive branch to the Iranians, an off-ramp in this conflict, understanding that there are still more than 50,000 U.S. forces in the region that at a moment's notice could start firing again if ordered by the president. And once again, the Iranians do not appear to be taking this very seriously. There's a very clear agreement here, and an updated agreement, we are told by U.S. officials. The points that the Iranians were putting out over the past 2 days were described to me as propaganda. They're trying to spin the negotiators.
And we know that it was propaganda. We have comments from J.D. Vance that we'll play in a little bit. As of right now, the Iranians are talking a strong game. The strait is closed. But as Donald Trump said last night, while the Iranians are talking, the Americans are preparing. A good update, though, no new missiles were fired into Israel last night, which does mean that the message of the ceasefire does appear to be reaching the corners of Iran and Tehran.
The missile fire has been quiet tonight. No new missiles into Israel this evening. And it looks like the vice president's planned trip to Islamabad for peace talks is still on schedule. John.
I don't know how I feel about J.D. Vance going to Islamabad, Pakistan for peace talks. It makes me a little nervous. I know he's going to have a lot of security, and I know that nothing is probably going to happen, but it does give me a little bit of heartburn knowing that they want Donald Trump dead, and J.D. Vance is the next guy in line, and we've killed 3 levels of their leadership. So it gives me a little heartburn. At the same time, while all this is happening and things are being worked out behind the scenes and we're giving our faith in the administration, the reaction from the left on the ceasefire has been hilarious. It was Donald Trump is a genocidal maniac who needs to be 25th Amendmented for threatening to wipe out civilization, right? That was the original talking point. And then as soon as the ceasefire was put in place, it was Trump always chickens out. So he's either a genocidal antichrist kind of figure or he is 100% a chicken and a joke, the reaction is not surprising. It doesn't matter what President Trump does. Those detractors will always have something to say about it. Jesse Waters detailing this last night.
Trump just transitioned. Yesterday, he was a tyrant. Today, he's a taco.
Donald Trump just caved, backing down from his fake deadline.
All day today, everyone, most notably the people of Iran, were wondering if their civilization was going to die tonight. Well, good news, it didn't. It was the Taco Tuesday of all Taco Tuesdays.
It's been very obvious for the last few days that the president was looking for an off-ramp.
The taco, Trump always chickens out syndrome.
Okay. So Trump's a war criminal who stopped the war because he's a chicken. I can't follow it.
No, who can? And here's the thing. I made this point yesterday. I think I was talking with Dan. It's like, we have seen this guy at the center of American politics for 10 years now, and you're shocked by the way he negotiates? Are you surprised when he says something wild and forces people to the negotiating table? No, I'm not. I know you're not. But apparently everyone else who has been paying attention to his every move and word for the last 10 years are stunned. Just completely shocked by this.
Dems want to give 47 the 25th because he threatened Iran so hard they signed a ceasefire?
We just can't accept a president who is literally promising to destroy an entire civilization, to murder hundreds of thousands of innocent human beings. That alone should be grounds for the removal of this president. But he thinks, I guess, that the threat of mass-scale war crimes has achieved some success.
Senator Chris Murphy said Trump was losing the war and he should stop bombing. So Trump stopped bombing. And Murphy called him crazy for stopping. Again, it makes no sense. I can't tell if the Democratic Party wants war or peace.
They don't know either, to be perfectly honest with you. The 25th Amendment talk wasn't just coming from members on the left. It was also coming from individuals on the right. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Alex Jones, and more. 25th Amendment. It's like, what are we doing here? Like, this isn't even a realistic option. It's never going to happen. Yet it was the big talk of the town yesterday. Stephen A. Smith reacted to the calls for the 25th Amendment.
And unlike Marjorie Taylor Greene or a bunch of people on the right, bloviating, talking out of both sides of their mouth, knowing that they're pushing for something that'll never happen.
People be bloviating.
Meaning invoking the 25th Amendment, that ain't gonna happen. As long as he's alive and breathing, Donald Trump's going to be the president until the end of the year 2028. It's just a fact.
Also, these same Democrats that are calling for the 25th Amendment, it's like, you understand that Joe Biden was the president, right? Like, you remember that? Do you? I know that the left has a tendency to memory hold things, but didn't Joe Biden poop his pants in front of the Pope? Wasn't that the word on the street? It was a rumor that never went away, and you know what they say about rumors that don't go away. They probably are true. Joe Biden was calling out for dead people. He was shaking hands with ghosts. He was getting lost when he went up on stage. There's one set of stairs to get up on the platform, Joe. Joe gets lost. He's being led by the hand by Barack Obama. And nobody said, he's sharp as a tack. He runs circles around us. What are you talking about? He's the smartest guy in the room when he's alone. But Donald Trump, he's losing it. He's got dementia. He's a maniac. We got a 25th Amendment him.
The 25th Amendment will not be executed. Stop it. Just say what Stephen A. said. You got former Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene right there, 25th Amendment, not a single bomb has dropped on America. We cannot kill an entire civilization. This is evil and madness. Yeah. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. This is not foreign policy. It's a deranged madman threatening to wipe out an entire country. It's past time. The 25th Amendment must be invoked. Stop it. All you're showing is how useless you are. To invoke the 25th Amendment, you're going to have to get the vice president to sign off, the Republicans in the House to sign off, cabinet members to sign off, basically declaring him unfit. It's something the president is fully capable of fighting by saying he's not unfit. And as a result, it's a reason why it's never been exercised in American history. Stop it.
Stop it. Get some help. It's like the Michael Jordan meme. You remember the Michael? Everybody loves the Michael Jordan. Stop it. Stop it. Get some help. You should actually add that as a hotkey. I feel like that would be a banger of a hotkey. Stop it. Get some help. To all of these individuals calling for the 25th Amendment, from Alex Jones to Marjorie Taylor Greene to Senator Ed Markey out of Massachusetts, Governor Pritzker out of Illinois, stop it. Get some help. The vice president is not going to sign off on the 25th Amendment. We had comments from J.D. Vance last night before he left Hungary. We'll bring you those on the way. It's 9:22. Phone lines are open, 615-737-9986. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at the Glock store. Dan Mandis and myself are talking about this morning. We're so excited for the 6th annual open house that's going down at the Glock store. Myself, Mandis, Matt Murphy, we are all going to be in attendance. We wouldn't miss a Glock store open house. These guys know how to throw a party. They always have great speakers. They have demonstrations and shooting competitions. They have vendor tables with factory reps and factory swag. And the biggest and best open to the public free gun gear raffle in all of Nashville and likely the country. I mentioned it earlier this morning, but I think it's worth mentioning again. While they're in the planning phases, you know what they did last year? They gave away 3 Glocks, including a Glock store custom Glock worth over $2,000. On top of that, over $25,000 were given away in incredible raffle prizes. They're going to be doing a lot of the same this year, and we want you in attendance. How many Glocks are they going to be giving away? Stay tuned. We'll keep you posted. But the Glock Store's 6th annual open house is happening on Saturday, May 30th. You need to plan on being there. Circle the date on your calendar. Come hang out with us at the one, the only Glock Store. Minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere, and always open online, glockstore.com.
Israel signals that it's ready for more airstrikes on Beirut. We've got that story coming up here at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You're kidding me. Israel wants to drop more bombs?
I think so.
Weird. Never heard anything like that before. Sorry. Got a text here from 3062. Said, I don't understand this taco thing. Is it supposed to be a euphemism for a vulgar word for lady parts? Like using the term taco instead of the kitty cat term? No. No. Taco.
That's a hot take.
It is. Taco. Taco stands for Trump always chickens out. Taco. I said that to 3062, and they said, oh, dang. My brain went somewhere way worse. Sure did, pal. Sure did. Yes. Trump always chickens out. J.D. Vance going to Islamabad, Pakistan, for negotiations this weekend. I don't like it. Not a fan. Let's do a Zoom meeting. Why do you have to have in-person negotiations in a country that hid Osama bin Laden for years, with a country that has had 3 levels of their leadership wiped out? It doesn't sound good. I'm sure everything will be fine. I don't even want to speak about it too much. I don't want to put that out in the air, but it does. It makes me a little nervous. But J.D. Vance, not exactly happy with the fake news, because you've seen it, and I've seen it as well. A lot of people have been sending me these, the plan that we agreed to with Iran. Did you see what we agreed to? Actually, nothing yet. The only thing that's been agreed to is a ceasefire. But there has been a lot of 10-point proposals floating around. And one of them, J.D. Vance says, was probably written by ChatGPT. One of them is the real one that Donald Trump referenced in his Truth Social post that he said is a good place to start working from. And then one of them is a maximalist 10-point plan, which you're seeing all of the black-pilled conservatives posting and the liberals posting, going, what the hell did we just agree to? That's not real. It's fake news. J.D. Vance called out a lot of the fake news, up to and including CNN, for pushing these proposals. We'll bring you those comments from J.D. Vance on the way. It's 9:30. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories here at 9:30. There could be a hitch in the ceasefire brokered with Iran this week. ABC's Ian Pannell is in Tel Aviv, and he says Iran has closed down the Strait of Hormuz again.
Because of what was happening in Lebanon with escalating Israeli strikes, there had been some question mark as to whether the Israeli operation in Lebanon was going to be part of this broader ceasefire. Israel said absolutely not. And Iran responded by saying, OK, we will stop the flow of ships through the Strait of Hormuz again.
Well, also new this morning, Israel has just issued a new evacuation order for residents of several neighborhoods in southern Beirut, telling them to leave immediately. Iran has claimed that Lebanon is part of the temporary ceasefire. Vice President J.D. Vance, however, says that's just not true. The Washington County School Board held its emergency meeting yesterday over member Keith Irvin calling a student member hot. But ultimately, the board voted only to censure him. There was a lot of heated testimony, and he spoke about what he called his poor choice of words.
Could I have said it better? Yes, I could have. And I'll be more mindful of that going forward.
He went on to say he was referring to the work she had done and that she was on a roll. It had nothing to do with her appearance. The censure is a formal condemnation, but it doesn't remove Irvin from office. Independence High School in Williamson County placed on lockdown yesterday over a swatting incident. Somebody had placed a fake call about a student in the school. It didn't take long to determine it was a prank. Extra police were called to the school. Principal Nikki Patton writing in an email to school families that the Department of Homeland Security is involved in the investigation. That is the latest news. Your weather is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. It is springtime, and Busy Bee is heating things up with the Spring Breathe Easy package. It's designed to help you clear out dust, allergens, and pet dander from your system before the summer heat arrives. This powerful package includes an AC tune-up, plus a professional indoor air quality check to make sure you and your family are breathing the cleanest, healthiest air possible. You're also going to receive a free dust inspection and premium air duct cleaning, removing that built-up that is hiding deep inside your system. But that's not all. Busy Bee is also going to install a whole-home germicidal system. That's going to help reduce airborne contaminants. And with premium service, you'll get a bonus unit fog deodorizer, leaving your system so fresh and so clean, just like spring itself. Now, you're getting all this value for just $11.99 on 1.5 to 3 ton systems, regularly $1,800, or $15.99 for 3.5 to 5 ton units, regularly $20.99. Call 615-775-7833. Take advantage of this deal today. The Spring Breathe Easy package, only from Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. 615-775-7833. BusyBeeHVAC.com. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friend Shane Ring over at Cover Nash. And if you think you have to wait for open enrollment to get health insurance, that is wrong. That is just what the big guys want you to believe. With Cover Nash, you can get covered right now, today. No waiting, no gimmicks, just real health insurance at a real good price. You missed open enrollment? No problem. Shane Ring and Cover Nash have you covered. You lost your job coverage? That sucks, but Shane can help you out. If you're sick of overpriced junk insurance, you are in the right place. You see, Cover Nash partners with over 75 top-rated insurance companies, including brand new nationwide PPO options with deductibles as low as $250, flat $50 doctor visits, even for specialists, ACA-compliant plans with free preventative care like physicals and colonoscopies. Not that you're excited, but at least you're not paying for it. Plans for individuals, families, self-employed folks, even small businesses. Stop overpaying, stop waiting, stop thinking you're stuck. Call Shane Ring today. 615-465-0023. That's 615-465-0023, or you can find them online and book some time at covernash.com. "36 minutes past the hour. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can listen to the show anywhere, all the apps, the FM dial. You can watch the show as well. We have video for all the audio that you hear on your radio on YouTube and Rumble. Smash the subscribe button. Help us grow the digital footprint of the radio station. We appreciate you. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Before we get into this audio from J.D. Vance leaving Hungary last night, we have an update on the Strait of Hormuz. This is coming from Fox News earlier this morning, a little while ago, maybe 15 minutes or so ago, saying that Iran is claiming its mediators will limit Strait of Hormuz tanker traffic to roughly a dozen per day and that they're going to have to coordinate with the IRGC, and that a handful of tankers have sailed through the strait since the ceasefire began. Let's listen in for the update.
Going on, we're watching it by the hour. So too is the White House, and Connor Hansen has an update from the North Lawn there. And Connor, good morning to you.
Bill, good morning. Only a handful of ships have been able to pass through the Strait of Hormuz since the ceasefire began, and questions over whether the strait is actually open could test this already fragile agreement. So far, Iran has maintained its tight grip on the vital shipping lane, reportedly telling mediators it will limit traffic to roughly a dozen ships per day, and those ships could have to pay tolls and coordinate with the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Only 5 ships passed through the strait yesterday, according to the firm Kepler, and data from maritime traffic shows not all of them were carrying crude oil.
I actually think that we are seeing signs that the straits is starting to reopen. I think you guys have probably seen oil prices have come down, so I think the oil markets, the gas markets are seeing the same thing.
Oil prices have ticked up slightly after that steep drop following the ceasefire announcement. For now, they're hovering below $100 a barrel. U.S. crude exports are expected to surge this month because of the limited supply from the Middle East, and gas prices remain high, but the White House expects the spike to be temporary.
And so our expectation is that you get those straits open, then things can return to normal very, very soon. And that's what future markets expect as well. If you look at that they've got oil a month from now, $20, $30 below what oil at the spot price is. And that's because they expect that we can get things going again relatively quickly.
And it's safe to say the Strait of Hormuz will be a major topic during in-person negotiations. Vice President Vance scheduled to travel to Pakistan for this weekend. Bill?
So that's the update. About 12 tankers have gone through, and we're waiting for it to open up more. In the meantime, J.D. Vance was leaving Hungary yesterday. I don't know. He was meeting with a bunch of people. It kind of felt like he was campaigning for Viktor Orban, if we're being completely honest. I don't know if they would classify it that way, but it felt like that to me. And I'm not even against it. I actually like Viktor Orban, and I'm here for it. But he was leaving Hungary yesterday, and he took aim at the media and the way that they've been characterizing the 10-point plan from Iran, making it seem like this administration has accepted every single one of these points. JD, not exactly impressed with the way the media has been spinning it.
About Iran, sir. So let me just say, given that you guys are going to ask about Iran, let me just say a few things, actually. So, number one, I think it's very important for the American media to be honest with the American people on this particular issue, because it affects not just, the normal issues of public policy. It actually affects peace and war. And here's what I mean. So in the past couple of days, I've seen a lot of reporting from the American media about the 10-point proposal that the Iranians have made. Now, as I know, because I've been involved in this, there are 3 different 10-point proposals, at least, that I've seen floating around. The first 10-point proposal was something that was submitted, and we think, frankly, was probably written by ChatGPT, that was submitted to Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. That immediately went in the garbage and was rejected. There was a second 10-point proposal that was much more reasonable, that was based on some back and forth between us, between the Pakistanis and Iranians. That is the 10-point proposal that the president was referencing in his truth yesterday. And then, frankly, I've seen a third 10-point proposal that's even more maximalist than the first 10-point proposal that's been floating around various social media channels. Now, here's what's interesting about all this, is that I've seen various organs, the New York Times, CNN, others, pick up and run the original 10-point proposal based on little more than a random Yahoo in Iran submitting it to public access television in the country of Iran, and then them saying that somehow represents the negotiating position of the government. It's the equivalent of somebody in, let's say, a Democratic councilman in Boise, Idaho, saying something crazy, the local public access TV picking up that crazy.
The local public access TV picking up that crazy comment and then running with it like it's the statement of the President of the United States. J.D. Vance there absolutely decimating the mainstream media in their narrative and spinning that we have seen over the past couple of days. And he's absolutely right. I mean, imagine if we had all these calls for the 25th Amendment and then people ran with that like it was actual news. I mean, they could, but it wouldn't be factual by any stretch of the imagination. And what they're doing with this 10-point plan is the exact same thing. They're just running with it, and there's no there. We don't know what the plan looks like. The only thing that's been agreed to is the ceasefire. That's it. And it looks like the ceasefire is holding. We need the strait open back up, and it looks like some boats are getting through. Not enough to really make a dent, but hopefully that changes relatively soon. But J.D. Vance saying the Iranians are promising to open the Strait of Hormuz and that we have a negotiation that's supposed to start this weekend. That's the truth that the American media should be pushing today, not this 10-point plan that they got from some Yahoo, as he put it, in Iran.
The United States accomplished its military objectives. What we know is the United States could have imposed significant additional military and economic costs on Iran and still has the capacity to do so. But we thankfully, at this point, I think, have a ceasefire, thanks to the leadership of the President of the United States. The Iranians promising to open the Straits of Hormuz, and we have a negotiation that's supposed to start this weekend. That's the truth. I think it's a good first step. We're going to see if we can make more progress here in the days to come. Can I ask you?
So that was Vance yesterday. Again, he's leaving Budapest, Hungary, after campaigning for Viktor Orban, probably doing some high-level meetings while he was there, too. I'm simplifying it a bit to say he was just out there campaigning, though the president did endorse Viktor Orban, and it seemed like the Hungarians really enjoyed J.D. Vance's speech yesterday. But where we're at right now is J.D. Vance giving everyone the truth, saying negotiations are coming this weekend. We're looking forward to them being positive. But at the same time, if Iran lets the negotiation fall apart, J.D. Vance says that is their choice, but it would be a dumb choice, to say the least. And if you have been paying attention to the president's True Social post, it's like, yeah, while the Iranians are talking, the Americans are preparing. J.D. Vance.
Look, if Iran wants to let this negotiation fall apart in a conflict where they were getting hammered over Lebanon, which has nothing to do with them and which the United States never once said was part of the ceasefire, that's ultimately their choice. We think that would be dumb, but that's their choice.
They're allowed to make dumb choices. And if they want to make dumb choices and let the ceasefire fall apart, it seems like Bridge and Power Plant Day is going to be back on the menu. That's what it looks like. 615-737-9986. J.D. Vance also revealed he was taking constant phone calls while in Hungary, working to achieve the ceasefire and get these negotiations down the field. J.D. has been working behind the scenes. Very, very good stuff from J.D. Vance, as you can see by the ceasefire that we have in place and the negotiations that are happening this weekend. But he says he's been working on this nonstop.
Could you help understand some details about that role? And do you think your well-known opposition to foreign wars generally was a factor that made you a key player in this?
Well, I appreciate Carolyn saying that. I mean, you know, my key role was I sat on the phone a lot. I answered a lot of phone calls. I made a lot of phone calls. And again, I'm happy about where we are. I think the president has struck a good deal for the American people. But fundamentally, the Iranians have got to take the next step, or the president has a lot of options to go back to the war.
I mean, make no mistake about it. J.D. Vance is in charge of these negotiations by design. This war is very unpopular, not just on the left, but among the right as well. We are divided down the middle, and it's some people are losing their mind that we're even over there. Other people are saying, you got to finish the job. What are we doing? They're losing their mind over a ceasefire. That being said, J.D. Vance is going to be the guy in 2028. And you're going to have to win over some of that black-pilled conservative base to get them to vote for J.D. in 2028. This is why he's heading up the negotiations. They want J.D. to be the anti-war peace guy. So that way, when they bring it up during the debates and they go, well, you were second in command and you attacked Iran, he can also come back and say, I was the guy that led the peace talks. I was the guy that ended the conflict. This is by design. This is not a mistake that J.D. Vance is in there. I'm sure that Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff could handle these negotiations on their own, as we've seen them handle in many other situations. I mean, how many wars has President Trump ended now with Witkoff and Kushner at the helm? Quite a few. Quite a few. More than a handful. More than a handful. J.D. Vance is in there by design. The administration understands that this is an unpopular conflict. They're looking for an off-ramp. But the Iranians need to play ball, too. It takes two to tango. So either they get in line or it's Bridge and Power Plant Day. No matter what they decide, J.D. is going to have a way to deflect from that and say, guys, I was the peace guy. I wasn't the war guy. I was the peace guy. 615-737-9986. Let's go to Wayne in Nashville. What's up, Wayne? How are you?
I'm doing great, and you're doing a great job.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm kind of wondering, number one, all these ships that are coming through now, supposedly the Strait of Hormuz, how many of those are loaded with oil, and how many of those are actually on a direct path to the United States? Because with our fuel prices and stuff being what they are, they're blaming the clog up there on the Strait of Hormuz for not being able to get oil out. But from what I understand, it's only 20% of what's shipped that comes through there, and it goes to other countries throughout the world. So why is it affecting our fuel prices when we have enough oil here in our country, and not to mention what we're starting to get from Venezuela?
So the Venezuela stuff, it's helpful, but it's going to take a lot of time to invest in that infrastructure that has been neglected for many, many years to get it up and running at the capacity that it could be running at. So that's for starters. So set Venezuela aside. I mean, I can't.
If we'd been able to get that pipeline from Canada down through here that the Biden administration clogged up, then there would have been another answer there. And plus, if we were just drilling our own oil up into Dakotas and in those areas where we have our own oil, we wouldn't be. We were energy independent when Trump left office in 2020. And then we come back in 2024, and it's all jacked up again because the Biden administration, they pencil whipped a bunch of They changed everything that Trump had did.
And they did. And the Biden administration did that because they wanted to push electric vehicles on everybody. And no liberals were upset about the gas prices because they said, well, I drive an electric car. And it's like, okay, so that was fine. This is different. I mean, the easiest way that I can explain it is oil is traded on a global market. So just because we are energy independent, net exporters, doesn't mean that we don't have to play within the same rules as everybody else. I think that they're doing 12 oil tankers a day going through the Strait of Hormuz is what the latest reporting is. That's not a lot. I mean, I don't know how that ramps up and compares to a normal day. I'll look into it during the commercial break. But we need to get it wide open. And once it's wide open, you'll see the oil prices drop just like we did yesterday during the announcement of the ceasefire. I mean, they dropped like 20% overnight when the ceasefire was announced. So, and Kevin Hassett is out there saying that this isn't going to be inflationary if it's resolved quickly because the market will just balance out. But as of right now, 12 tankers a day. Oil is traded on a global market. Venezuela, we need to ramp up. We need to invest in infrastructure there. And, I mean, that's a hard sell, too, given the political volatility of a country like Venezuela and knowing what they did the last time they had all these oil companies in there. So that's an uphill battle. Yes, there is some benefit from having the Venezuelan oil. It's not where it needs to be yet or where it could be, 5-10 years down the road.
Well, the second part of that, if you've got a second on this, is with the Strait of Hormuz. Why are we even allowing Iran to negotiate the movement of ships through there that clogs up the economy of the world? I mean, apparently we have bombed them into, we've decimated their military, and they do have still some capabilities, which is evident. But, I mean, I don't understand why it's so hard to tell them, hey, look, the strait's not a negotiating tool. You're either going to open it or we, like Trump said, we're going to come in and we're going to start blowing up more stuff.
I mean, the easiest way to explain it is there's, 90 million people in Iran. They have been indoctrinated since birth with this regime. There's a lot of people, even though we've taken out 3 levels of leadership, there's a lot of people that are just radical Islamist ideologues, and drones are cheap, mines are cheap, so the Navy can be decimated, the Air Force can be decimated, the missile capabilities can be decimated, but it is so cheap, and the threats and the psychology there are really what's messing with people, and it's messing with the insurance companies. They don't want to insure any boat going through the Strait of Hormuz because the threat of it being exploded and sunk to the bottom of the ocean is real.
Yeah. Well, you have done a very good job of answering my questions this morning.
Well, Wayne,
and I'm sure there's a lot of
I mean, I'm doing the best I can. I am not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just a dad whose wife left him and is now alone with 4 kids. So just for the weekend, but it's hard. It's hard. But we got a lot more on the way. I'll bring you more comments from J.D. Vance. I also want to bring you some of these comments from the National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett and NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte. Donald Trump has been very hard on NATO. I think that we actually might see a real scenario where we go deuces to NATO. We'll talk about that when we get back. It's 9:53. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Appetite feels under control. It can make it
Coming up, things are changing at the Strait of Hormuz at this hour. Also, a Hawaii doctor convicted of trying to kill his wife. Those stories and more at 10 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. Negotiations this weekend in Islamabad, Pakistan, and the teams are set.
Pakistan, in-person peace talks, and this is what the table is going to look like for what could be J.D. Vance's biggest assignment yet as vice president. He will be there. Steve Witkoff, the special envoy, will be there. Jared Kushner, another special envoy, will be there on the U.S. side. On the Iran side, you've got the parliament speaker who has been talking to President Trump, Mohammed Bagher Ghalibaf, and then Abbas Araghchi, the foreign minister. Officials here are not negotiating in public about which points have to stay, which points have to go to end this military campaign in the Middle East, but it is very notable. Both here at the White House and at the Pentagon, officials are starting to refer to Epic Fury in the past tense, something that happened, something that was very effective.
That's a good sign. That's a good sign. That would keep us within the timeline of the 4 to 6 weeks. That's what the American people want. We want to get out of this as quickly as possible. A lot of American people didn't want to get into this in the first place, but we're here now, so let's end this very quickly. It looks like that could be the case, and it looks like we're going to be doing it without any of our NATO allies. Secretary General Mark Rutte was in town yesterday, and he was on the White House grounds for about a couple hours, 2 hours-ish, meeting with President Trump, as 47 considers punishing the freeloaders of NATO for abandoning us when it came to Iran. All these animals want a piece of the bread. They didn't want to help us make it. We'll talk about that. President Trump lashing out at NATO after that meeting. And then Mark Rutte goes on TV, CNN of all places, and says, actually, President Trump was right. Oh. I'll bring you those comments on the way. It's 10 o'clock. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. A bit of a change at the Strait of Hormuz. Iran now says it's only allowing a small number of ships to transit through the strait. And those ships have to register with Iran's Revolutionary Guard first. Traffic remains at a slow trickle. Iran claims that the temporary ceasefire agreement has already been violated. Here's ABC's Mary Bruce.
The point of contention: ongoing Israeli strikes against Hezbollah targets in Lebanon. Iran accusing the U.S. of going back on what they claim is a key element of the ceasefire, that Israel stop these strikes, and refusing to reopen the strait. On social media, Iran's foreign minister writing, "The world sees the massacres in Lebanon. The ball is in the U.S. court, and the world is watching."
Meantime, Matt Finn of Fox News reporting from the United Arab Emirates this morning.
One interesting outcome out of all this is the UAE, the country we're in right now, has identified the United States as its greatest security partner in the world, greater than any Gulf country here or Europe. And the UAE says it will double down on its relationship with the United States.
A diplomatic advisor to the UAE's president tells Euronews that his country would join any U.S.-led effort to secure navigation in the Strait. Closer to home, MTSU is growing. Officials breaking ground on a $56 million student residence hall yesterday.
This will be a 161,000 square foot structure. It will have more than 500 beds with single or double rooms and apartments. It will be located at the existing Womack Lane housing site.
Channel 4's Danielle Ledbetter. Completion expected next summer. A verdict in the trial of a Hawaii doctor accused of trying to kill his wife on a hiking trail. Maui anesthesiologist Gerhard Koenig convicted of attempted manslaughter on Wednesday.
Prosecutors claim when Koenig confronted her about flirty messages with another man, he tried to push her off a cliff, then tried to inject her with a syringe before beating her with a rock. She testified she pleaded with him to stop.
You have to stop. And again, he's saying, like, you're done.
Koenig claimed she attacked him first, and he reacted in self-defense.
I felt like a shove, and I was almost pushed over the edge.
Koenig's son testified his father called him and confessed, but Koenig called that a misunderstanding. He now plans to appeal the verdict.
It's ABC's Andrea Fujii. That is the latest news. We've got your weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Middle East will be gone, and then they're coming for Europe. And I have to tell you, I'm very disappointed in NATO. Very. I think that NATO, I think it's a mark on NATO that will never disappear. Never disappear in my mind. You know, they're coming to see me on Wednesday. They're going to say, oh, we'll do this, we'll do that. Now they all of a sudden want to send things, you know. But they said it loud and clear at the beginning when I spoke to UK of all. I would have said they would have been the first because they're the oldest. And I say, yeah, I'd love to have a little help. He said, no, sir, we'd rather wait till you win. I said, I don't need help after we win. They have 2 old broken aircraft carriers, barely work. I said, I guess we can use them. Who the hell knows? I called the general. He didn't even want them. He said, we don't really need them. We got the SS Abraham Lincoln, sir. We don't need them. Do you know, we have, in terms of technology, we had one day 101 missiles going at 2,700 miles an hour aimed at the Abraham Lincoln. 101 missiles. Out of 101 missiles, 101 missiles were shot down.
We don't need NATO's help. That's the case that the president is making. He said, well, we'll help you when we win, sir. It's like, it's the chicken and the bread, man. You guys want to help? Once the bread's made, you want to help eat it, but you don't want to help make it. No. Donald Trump posting on True Social last night, after the meeting with Secretary General Mark Rutte, NATO wasn't there when we needed them, and they won't be there if we need them again. Remember Greenland? That big, poorly run piece of ice? President DJT. So he's back on Greenland, too. Once we wrap up Iran, we're taking Greenland. And you have NATO to thank for that. It's insane. This whole thing's insane. So President Trump lashes out after that meeting. Mark Rutte is there for 2 hours. Our allies They're trying to take credit for this already. Keir Starmer, in between making sure that Kanye West and his anti-Semitism doesn't come to England, he's taking credit for the ceasefire that the UK refused to be a part of. Listen to this.
What is the purpose of your visit here in the Gulf? What kind of influence do you think you can have?
Well, we've just reached this ceasefire, which is both welcome and I think there'll be a sense of real relief. There certainly is across the region and for the United Kingdom. But there's work to do, and I'm here in Saudi Arabia.
What is the purpose of your visit?
So he said we just reached the ceasefire. Isn't that weird? We. Maybe I don't know the meaning of we. What does we mean? It's a pronoun used by a speaker to refer to himself or herself and one or more other people considered together. That's what we means. So I think you're a bit off when it comes to we, sir. Unless he was speaking French. So was he speaking French? He might have been. There is no we here. NATO hasn't been helping. England hasn't been helping. And you heard President Trump a couple days ago during that White House press briefing on Monday. It's like, guys, they offered us nothing. Our generals didn't even want it. We have the USS Abraham Lincoln. We don't need your old aircraft carriers. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. These NATO allies haven't been there, and they want to start popping up as soon as things are winding down. Chicken in the bread, man. Chicken in the bread. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte. It's fancy. It's European. He was on CNN yesterday after the meeting. And he gets on CNN, and a lot of people were shocked because he came out and he just backed the president. He was in full support of President Trump, and he was condemning our allies for abandoning President Trump in America.
Run the risk that this would lead into the North Korea moment, where you talk so long that at a certain moment it's beyond the point where you can still get this done, because then they would get their hands on the nuclear capacity. Mm-hmm. And that is basically a big risk for Europe. It is existential for Israel. It is existential for the Middle East. So the whole world is safer by this president degrading those capabilities.
But there are a lot
and this is by many in Europe acknowledged, and they understand that continuing talking to get this done would have brought us potentially past that moment where we can still deal with it.
So you talked about the statement of NATO allied countries about the Strait of Hormuz, about trying to figure out a way forward. Here is the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, when asked about the joint statement from the NATO governments about the Strait of Hormuz. Here's what she had to say.
I have a direct quote from the President of the United States on NATO, and I will share it with all of you. They were tested, and they failed.
Do you agree that NATO countries, some of them were tested and failed?
Some of them, yes, but the large majority of European countries, and that's what we discussed today, have done what they promised before in a case like this, because they know that when it comes to NATO, it's there to protect the United States. Because the US needs to secure Atlantic and to secure Arctic and to secure Europe to stay safe here, the US mainland. But it is also there to make sure that, of course, Europe is safe, and to be this platform of power projection for the United States.
So Mark Rutte was never going to come out and trash Trump. He refers to him as daddy, both publicly and privately. And he did kind of play both sides of the fence there. Some of our allies stepped up, he says. Which ones? I would like the list. I don't recall any of them stepping up. But he was on Trump's side. And he was asked point blank by Fake Tapper, is the world safer now after than it was before the Iran war started? And Mark Rutte says, yeah, absolutely.
Nuclear, and then you cannot negotiate any longer, and they have that power.
Is the world safer today than it was before the war was started?
Absolutely, because, and this is thanks to President Trump's leadership, degrading these capabilities is really very important for your and my safety here in the US, in Europe, in the Middle East.
I think you can make the argument it's more important for Europe, especially after we learned the missile capability, the distance that they could reach was double what they were publicly stating. I know we've said this a numerous amount of times, but I think it's worth saying again. We thought their missiles could only go 2,000 kilometers. That's what they publicly stated. Then they launched two at Diego Garcia, which is a base 4,000 kilometers away from Iran. It's a joint U.S.-UK base. Neither of those missiles hit. One broke up in the air. The other was intercepted by the grace of God. Nobody was injured. But that puts European cities in the crosshairs. It puts London in the crosshairs. It puts Paris in the crosshairs. It puts Germany in the crosshairs, Rome in the crosshairs of Iran. So when he says, is the world safer? He's like, absolutely, yeah. Europe is a heck of a lot safer. 100%. And none of these allies were there when we wanted them to show up and help. Then CNN tried to bait Mark Rutte. They wanted to bait him into going anti-Trump. He didn't take the bait. He pushed back against it. They brought up the Truth Social post where he was going to end civilization. And I think Mark Rutte is a smart enough guy to understand that Donald Trump talks big because it forces people to the table. This is CNN trying to bait him.
When President Trump threatened to kill the entire Iranian civilization, did that bother you at all as a diplomat?
Well, you know, what I always say when it comes to what leaders are saying, I'm not commenting on everything. What I want you to know is that I support the president, and I know large parts of Europe do when it comes to taking out the capacity of Iran to export chaos to the region, to Europe, to the whole world. They are one of the main enablers of Russia's war effort in Ukraine. We all know this.
Yeah, all the drones.
With the drones, it is an existential threat to Israel if they would get their hands on a nuclear capability. It is great to try to negotiate it away, but we also always knew that with North Korea, it took too long, and then North Korea had its hand on a nuclear, and then you cannot negotiate any longer, and they have that power.
Can't wait till it's too late. Didn't take the bait. He says, I'm not commenting on everything. I'm not here to comment on everything. But he supports the president when it comes to taking out the capacity of Iran to export chaos. This is Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte. Again, this is after a several-hour meeting with the president at the White House yesterday, a private closed-door meeting that the president lashed out afterwards and called out NATO, calling them useless, essentially. And he's not wrong. He's not wrong. I hope we do have a come-to-Jesus moment when it comes to NATO. I don't necessarily think that we need to be in NATO. I think NATO needs us a lot more than we need them. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte also admitted that Trump is right, that not all of these European nations are living up to their commitments. Gee, no kidding.
The United States was in full play over the last 6 weeks. And yes, it is true. Not all European nations lived up to those commitments, and I totally understand that he is disappointed about it.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not worried at all, 10 being terrified, where do you leave Washington thinking President Trump, your opinion of President Trump wanting to leave NATO? Are you 1, I'm not worried at all, 10, I'm really worried Trump is going to pull out of NATO?
Well, I'm not going to get into that answering that question.
I'm just trying to get an answer.
No, I understand that. But what I felt today, this was a meeting between friends. Because we like each other. I really admire his leadership, and he knows what he did in The Hague last year at the NATO summit has been crucial. And NATO allies are with him when it comes to the aims of taking out, as I said, degrading the nuclear and the ballistic missile capacity of the Iranians.
Yeah, but
so that's Mark Rutte on CNN yesterday. He closes with a bit of glazing of the president. But when he doesn't answer the question on how terrified you are of President Trump dropping out of NATO, 1 being not terrified, 10 being very terrified, and he refuses to answer it, I would imagine that means it's greater than 5, right? Like, I think that there's a 50-50 chance, 60-40 chance that we pull out of NATO after this. Why would we stay in? Seriously, why? 615-737-9986 if you want to join the conversation. Tony is calling from the 51st state of Montreal. What's up? What's up, Tony?
How you doing? I don't know if we're the 51st state, but we definitely support Trump up here. A lot of conservative people agree with Trump, and I don't believe you guys should even listen to your own media. I'm talking about the legacy media. The people in the United States, I'll send a message to you guys down in Tennessee. Many Canadians are conservative people, over 50% in this country, but we're gerrymandered in a lot of our, electoral districts. But I'll just say one thing: J.D. Vance is going to be the future president of the United States. I would not send him to Pakistan. I would not send anybody to Pakistan. I don't trust Pakistan. I don't trust any of those terrorists. Those are Islamofascist countries, and you cannot guarantee the safety of the future president of the United States and the current VP. I just want to say one thing. I was surprised by UN Secretary Mark Rutte, especially that he was on CNN with the fake news, fake tapper. They're always trying to get an angle. They're trying to diminish the value of what Trump does. Even the issue of him pulling out those pilots. Some people were trying to give the location of the pilots. What kind of, I won't say the bad words, but I can't. What kind of morons would do that against the United States military, and they're especially in the military, as Trump has said. I just don't understand that. But even though he pulled those pilots out of danger, and he did it surreptitiously, and he did it without any injury to any further military personnel, nobody said anything other than the leftists like AOC and Schumer and those type of ilk people, Pritzker and Brandon Johnson and Newscomb, all of these people, all they could say is we support the military. Well, of course you support the military. But why don't you say you support the commander-in-chief, the person who made the decision, the crisis management decision? Not like Jimmy Carter when all those warthogs crashed in the desert and many people were killed. He did the same thing with Maduro. Why can't the leftist Democratic Party be like Federer? The gentleman senator from Pennsylvania, he says, I stand for the United States. Well, a lot of Canadian people stand for you guys too, okay?
Yeah.
We know Trump. We know his style. We know he's not going to eliminate the planet. He's threatening these people. And by the way, guys, those Islamofascists that are in control, they took over a country by terrorist tactics and killed millions of people while the rest of NATO watched, while UN watched. The only person that made any move to stop that, including the killing of Christians in Nigeria and in Syria, is Trump.
Yep.
And Trump says, I'm going to come into your country, and I'm going to stop this. Guess what? He's like Truman. When Truman said, if you don't stop, we're going to bomb you. And when the Nazis were killing Jews in Germany, the then president of the United States says, we're going to burn Dresden. And they firebombed it, and they stopped. So you know what? That's war. If you want to play war and say death to the United States, death to Israel, death to this, after 48 years of pulling that kind of nonsense publicly, well, guess what? We're going to come after you. And the only president that put his money where his mouth is the gentleman by the name of Donald Trump, which I support, and I supported him in 2013. By the way, I studied in the United States. I studied at Colby College in Waterville, Maine. You guys paid for my plenipotentiary attitude today because my Canadian government wouldn't give me a penny to study in Canada. But the American government and the state of Maine and Colby College gave me a scholarship in diplomatic history, and I became an attorney later by going back to McGill. But I tell you what, you guys got paid in full by me because I appreciated your attitude towards Canadians when I was there back in 1978. I will always support Trump. I will always support the Republican Party. I hope people come back to flag country and neighbor where it has to be an American pie so that we have a guiding light in the world. We cannot have the Chinese and the Russians running this world. We'll be in serious trouble. We will all perish if that was the case.
You're absolutely right, man. Hey,
God be with the king. God be with your country, and God be with the President of the United States.
Hey, real quick before you go, Tony, how did you find WTN?
Because I listened to Dan Mandis on America at Night, and I liked what he was saying.
Yep.
And when I called in, he asked me, like, where are you from? How come you have this American type of, support for your political opinions? I said, well, I mean, I have family in the U.S. They're my mother's side of family in all kinds of different states, but that's not the reason I do that. I believe that, if you don't have a guiding light, look at Starmer, the wishy-washy bootlicker that he is.
Yep.
Okay? That's not a leader.
No, and he's
not a leader.
And he's such a pansy. Like, he can be tough when it comes to Kanye West and his anti-Semitism, but when it comes to the millions of Muslim refugees you're letting into country and their anti-Semitism, you don't say a peep. You're very quiet about it.
And if you criticize him, he jails you. And by the way, we just passed a law called C9. It's at the Senate in Canada. It's going to be the exact duplicate of the bill that criticizes free speech through the internet. So in other words, if I say, okay, I hate the St. Louis Cardinals, that's considered hate speech because I'm directing it at a certain targeted, identifiable group. So if I say I hate eggs, I'm targeting egg producers, and they can come and pull me out of my house like they do in England. And by the way, the only country that supports Trump is Meloni in Italy. If you listen to her speeches translated into English, they'll bring tears to your eyes. She said very clearly, if you want Italian citizenship, you must sweat it, you must deserve it, and you must work for it. And if the crucifix and nativity scene bothers you, then there are many, many countries. The world is big. There are many Islamic countries where they have persecuted Christians and burnt churches to the ground and eliminated the cross. Go back to those countries. But here in Italy, we respect and adore the church and the nativity scene and the crucifix, which is the way it should be.
Amen.
It's a Judeo-Christian country, and that's the way it is. If you don't like it, go back to where you came from.
I'm with you, Tony. Tony, if you need somebody to vouch for you so you can get American citizenship, you just call back and let me know, all right?
Hey, listen, I love the United States. My parents love the United States. We vacationed in Plattsburgh, New York on Lake Champlain every Saturday from the time I was a little kid. And we went out down to the coast of Maine, Saco, Maine, and I ended up in school in Maine. I have nothing but love for American people. I don't distinguish between Democrats and Republicans. You are a great nation. You're a young nation, 250 years old, and you're still kicking butt and telling the rest of the world what's right or wrong. Remember, when it's right, and the left is never right.
Amen. Amen. Hey, Tony, don't forget we got a birthday coming up, so get us something nice, all right?
By the way, yesterday was my 67th birthday.
All right. Happy birthday. My two sons, if they're listening, they're going 6'7", and they're very excited about it. I appreciate the call, Tony. Call in anytime. It's 1024 on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friend Aaron Parker over at Parker Safes and Vaults in Shelbyville. And you've heard me talk about Parker Safes and Vaults a lot. They're our veteran-owned, family-run safe and vault door business right here in Middle Tennessee. And let's be honest, a lot of us want a safe, but we've been putting it off because we have to figure out which one to buy, where to put it, and then how to get it installed. Well, this is exactly what Aaron and his sons take care of. They're going to help you choose the best safe for your needs and your budget, offer advice on the best place to put it. They'll deliver it themselves, and they'll install it as well. They are your one-stop shop for all things safes. And they have the best safes from brands like Liberty, Rhino, American Security, Heyman, and more. You can find a detailed video review of every single safe that they have in stock on their YouTube page. You search for Parker Safes on YouTube, and you can already start shopping essentially on the YouTube page. From there, you give Aaron a call when you know what you want, 931-842-6445, and he'll walk you through the entire process. And when you buy your safe for a limited time only, you mention the Chris Hand Show, and you're going to get a free pistol safe while supplies last. 931-842-6445, or find them online at parkersafes.com. That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. It's 10:29 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. We got a lot to get to, a little bit of time. I want to bring you some comments from National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett on the way. But real quick, if our Canadian friend Tony is still listening, I hope you know how much this audience loves you. If you don't, I'll let you know. Debbie texted in and said, that Canadian is a better American than most leftists. Fact check, true. 0409 said, damn, great caller. What a dude. Wendy said, holy crap, Tony freaking rules. And Wendy, I don't know if you know this. If you've been listening to the show for a long time, Wendy is hard to impress. Then we also got a couple people. Ron said, I'm nominating this guy as the governor of the 51st state. I mean, absolutely based. Larry said, man, this Canuck is based. A lot of people love the Canadian caller, Tony. Tony, call back in whenever you get a chance. We'll bring you those comments from National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett on the way. He's not stressing. He's not stressing over the economy. He feels pretty good. And he thinks once everything gets ironed out here in the Strait of Hormuz, we're going to be booming. That's the word on the street. We'll bring it to you next. It's 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
To the Middle East ceasefire, Iran now says it'll limit the tanker traffic to roughly a dozen tankers per day through the Strait of Hormuz. And those tankers will have to coordinate with the IRGC.
Iran now balking at Trump's main request, reopening the Strait of Hormuz, because they say the Trump administration reversed course on a key element of the plan for Israel to stop bombing Lebanon. But the U.S. saying that was never part of the deal at all.
That's ABC's Olivia Rubin. Also today, Israel has issued a new evacuation order for residents of several neighborhoods in southern Beirut, telling them to leave immediately. Iran has claimed that Lebanon is part of the temporary ceasefire, but Vice President J.D. Vance says that's just not true. Murfreesboro police searching for two people who robbed an armored truck yesterday. This happened at a credit union on West Clark Boulevard. Here's Channel 4's Danielle Ledbetter.
Police say two people with guns drove up in a Nissan Pathfinder. They went up to an armored truck at the ATM, assaulted the guard, and stole cash. Officers later spotted their car and chased them on I-40.
That car exited at I-840 towards Smyrna. That's where police say they lost track of them. The husband of an American woman missing in the Bahamas has been arrested in connection with her disappearance. ABC's Victor Akendo saying Brian Hooker told authorities that Lynette fell out of their dinghy, and because of weather and currents, she floated away.
Lynette's daughter, Carly, sharing this voicemail. She says he left her about it.
Hello, honey. I just got a call from Hopetown Search and Rescue, and they have found a flotation device that I threw to Mom when she fell overboard, and so they haven't found her yet, but they can now focus all of their efforts in a smaller area.
Well, he didn't report his wife is missing until the next day. That is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Better Water LLC. We got a water filtration system in our house. The water tastes great. It smells great. The kids love drinking out of the sink. It's a weird thing, but they're like, oh, we got sink water now. We can have sink water. Yeah, if you're tired of not being able to drink the water out of your sink because it smells weird or maybe it's just tasting bad, you should call Better Water today. They could test your water for free. In fact, I recommend you do so because you could have some nasty stuff in there if you're experiencing the smells and the bad taste, like sulfur, iron, chlorine, bacteria, even E. coli. If you have any of that nasty stuff in your water, Better Water offers a range of options to clean it up. From reverse osmosis to specialized filters to UV lights, Better Water is the pros. They can treat the water in your home. They're a local company based out of Smyrna, and they're already treating the water at your local coffee shops and hospitals around town. You've probably already tasted their work. Give them a call today. They'll test your water for free. 615-355-6063, 615-355-6063, or you can check them out online at betterwater.com. Thirty-seven minutes past the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand. You can find me on all the social media platforms at Chris Hand on Air. Hit the follow button. I will follow back. You can listen to the show on all the apps, the FM dial. You can watch the show on YouTube and Rumble. Smash the subscribe button. I think I asked you for too many things, so nobody will do any of them. So that's what they tell me. So if you ask for too much, Chris, you get nothing. Like, I do believe in that principle. I say the same thing to my kids. It's true. It's true. People be asking.
But if just 10 people made 100 accounts on YouTube, we'd get a lot of subscribers.
We would have a lot of. If we had 15 dedicated listeners making 100 YouTube profiles each, our numbers would be through the roof overnight. As long as you made those 100 profiles tonight,
skyrocket.
It would be straight to the moon, baby. You could call our YouTube channel Artemis 3 because that's what we'd be doing. People don't think it'd be like it is, but it do. Smash the subscribe button, at the very least. I got a couple people waiting on the line that want to talk. I don't really know what they want to talk about. Let's go to Richard in Smyrna. He's been hanging on the line for a minute. What's up, Rich?
Hey, Chris. How are you?
I'm good, man. What do you got?
I called you about 3 weeks ago, and that was during the Trump press conference, so I basically called back for 3 weeks. And they said you would actually give you a name of a woman on a podcast called Rachel Blevins. Very concerning, and basically, this woman, everything that she puts out is anti-America, anti-military, negative, doom and gloom. The latest podcasts are saying that little history. She was employed by a television network called Russian Television America. She was a foreign correspondent.
RT, the RT channel?
Yeah, and it got shut down, so now she went to podcasting. But her latest podcasts say things like the rescue team, that the special forces that dropped in and rescued the American pilot, Iran decimated them. They've decimated we lost 13 planes on the ground in Saudi Arabia at an air base, including some rare planes that they get hard to find. That the Israeli army is almost rioting because of what's going on. So everything is going on. There's nothing positive. She's not for America. Apparently, she had a YouTube channel that got shut down, but apparently she's on saying, I got put back on because of the outcry of, against free speech, and I'm back on again. Very concerning, especially the fact that this is during a time of conflict. And I don't know what can be done about her, but she's basically on Spotify. People can go check her out if I don't believe what I'm saying. Very clear. It's called the Rachel Blevins Show on Spotify. So I don't know if you were able to catch that.
So she says some wild things. So do a lot of leftists. Just a quick search of her. She was born and raised in the United States. She's from Mineral Wells, Texas, which is near Fort Worth. Her family moved there from Colorado when she was 11. I mean, she's an American citizen. She's got the right to free speech. I don't know if there's much you can do about it. I think one thing I would tell you is nobody really knows who she is. So I would I wouldn't make a big deal out of it if I'm being perfectly honest.
Well, she acts like she's something. Because I said she basically appeared on I don't know if it was the red carpet, posing for pictures. And I'm like, well, who are you?
Yeah.
But she poses like she's a celebrity.
Yeah, I mean, she's not. I wouldn't. I mean, she's not. But yeah, I'm looking at her stuff. The U.S. empire's in terminal decline. Iran vows immediate and proportionate response if U.S. attacks civilization. What was her one yesterday? She said, 1 week ago, the Wall Street Journal reported the Trump admin may launch a military op to extract 1,000 pounds of uranium from Iran. I mean, yeah, she's obviously anti-American.
And you see the one on there about the Iranians decimated our rescue team that dropped in to rescue the pilot from Iran decimated that rescue team.
Yeah.
It's all lies. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's just as stupid as she looks, to be perfectly honest with you. She was probably indoctrinated at college. She went to Texas Tech University. She got a degree in journalism. I mean, she's probably just like every leftist journalist that goes to American universities for the most part.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Let's go to Terry in Hendersonville. Terry, what's up? How are you?
Hello? Can
Hello.
you hear me?
I can. What do you got?
Well, I want to say I love your show and love all of y'all there. And have you heard about the Dignity Act that Republicans are trying to push through to give illegals a pathway to citizenship?
I have heard about it. I haven't talked much about it. Maria Salazar was originally pushing this a few months back. I don't think it goes anywhere. I think that it's just a non-starter for Republicans. I understand that there's quite a few Republicans that are supporting it, but I don't see this going anywhere at all.
Great. Yes, it's crazy.
Yeah, 100%.
Thank you so much, and appreciate you so much. Thank you.
And likewise, Terry, I appreciate you. Thank you for listening. Yeah, I mean they're doing the Dignity Act or Dignidad or whatever it is in Spanish. I don't even know. I don't speak Spanish, but I can pretend. So they're doing this. They're pushing for mass amnesty. It would only benefit the Democrats. It's not going to go anywhere. It's just not. I mean, if it was a slow news week and we didn't have, wars and ceasefires breaking out, maybe we would talk about it. It just, I don't think it goes anywhere. I could be wrong. I could absolutely be wrong. We could find this being a big story in a couple weeks, but I don't see it happening. Let's go to Michael in Nashville. What's up, Mike?
Hey. Remember when President Trump said he would only accept unconditional surrender?
It's a seminar caller. Yeah.
Oh, you're so smart. You want to answer?
I mean,
remember when Trump said?
What do you want? What do you want from me? What like you call in all the time, and I just don't understand how you live your life like this.
It's great to be self-employed with a successful business. What can I tell you?
I wish I could be as successful as you. Maybe I should start my own business where I'll call into NPR stations and I'll just beat him over the head with conservative talking points. That's all this guy does. He's been limited to once a season for a call, so we're not going to let him hang on the line. But anybody else that disagrees, you're more than welcome to chime in. We got Ryan back there training, right? It's Ryan. Okay, I just want to make sure. So I flubbed things. That's our seminar caller. He is a lonely man. I would imagine overweight. He voted Republican for Chris Christie, so there's that. And I just picture him in sweatpants with grease stains. That's how I picture him. So we have limited him to one per season.
Weird. Stop it. Get some help.
Oh, there it is. There it is. We need that. If the seminar caller is still listening, this is our advice for you.
Stop it. Get some help.
Get some help, please. That's just, I don't understand it. I don't understand. I don't really enjoy talking to him though. Let's go to U-Haul Brian on the road. What's up, Brian?
What's up, man? That genius don't be genius, do we?
People be calling though, people be running their own businesses. So,
and he be changing his name all the time. Seems
it's
like.
so weird. Yeah, I don't understand it. If he would just give his real name, I probably would be more willing to talk to him. But he's just a weird guy.
That's what cowards do, Chris.
Yeah,
that's what cowards do. He may be from Iran, just has a good accent. Who knows?
Maybe.
But one time I called in, it might be the same guy that said that Rhodes Scholar you were talking about me. Well, he would be probably shocked to find out I do have a college degree, but I don't want to be a Rhodes Scholar. Who wants to be a PhD, a piled high and deeper dumbass?
Oh my gosh! All right.
So anybody that doesn't support our president, it's like you said, it's like free speech. We have free will.
Yeah.
But why would you not? My wife says to me all the time, who is the most apolitical, non-political person ever born in the United States. She's a U.S. citizen, believe it or not. And she says, why do people go against what he's trying to do that's common sense? And every person who doesn't talk about politics all day wants what he's doing. I don't know if they vote or they don't, but I remember the silent majority was a big deal in 2015 when he was running the first time. And they said that's what's going to win it for him, and it did. And my brother still to this day, 87 years old, my brother's 21 years older than me. He tells me all the time, you predicted that Trump victory. I said, no, I didn't. I used common sense. There were people back then that were going, he don't have a chance. He don't have a chance. And all I did say, he's going to win because common sense will win out. And guess what? It did. It would have won the second time if they hadn't cheated. And like he says, I won 3 times in a row. That's the truth.
100%.
Why don't we give this guy credit, regardless? Why don't we give him credit? He's an outstanding president. Like I hear some of your smart guys say sometimes, he's going to go down after all is said and done. He's going to go down as one of the greatest.
Well, and this is one of the things that there's a lot of black-pilled conservatives right now, especially when it comes to the Iran operation. And I keep going back to Alex Jones calling for the 25th Amendment, and it blows my mind. Or Megyn Kelly losing it. It's like, guys, you understand how much net positive there is because Donald Trump is in the office. Even if he completely botched Iran, if it was just an absolute botch job and we lost, hundreds of soldiers and billions of dollars of equipment, if we went full Biden Afghanistan withdrawal, he would still be unbelievably light years ahead of the past Democrat administrations that we have seen.
It's so funny for you to say light years ahead when I was thinking I was going to say that before you did. I was going to say he's like, if he went to sleep like Sleepy did for 4 years, from now till went to the end of his term, he's done more than, and it's, 90% of it's been good. I don't know. I don't even really think there's anything bad. I'm not a blind follower, but at the same time, I'm a common sense guy, and I see my son is a police officer. I've told you about that before. Was a police officer and a Marine, and he says, "I see what I see."
Yeah,
we do what we do.
But with the Iran war, I do understand the nuanced conversation, and I understand how he campaigned on No More Forever Wars and how people this just rubs people the wrong way because it's backwards of a lot of the promises and a lot of the discussions, right? The Iraq War was a mistake, was a big statement in 2015. And then here we are, 10, 11 years later, some people saying making another mistake in Iran. So I can understand and appreciate the nuanced conversation. But to be a black pill doomer when it comes to President Trump, when it's like, hey, guys, you understand that we have allowed 0 illegal aliens into this country, but that 0 have been released in the last 11 months compared to the millions that we had under Joe Biden. Like, just from a starting point of there, we're doing so much better. Then you talk about the rooting out of DEI, the rooting out of the transgender ideology, the protecting of our kids. Like, we can go down the list if you want to go bar for bar, and you can tell me how he is a bad president. And I feel like we have points to say, no, that's not the case. And we can debate one issue, but overall, the past year has been pretty damn good.
Well, I would debate with you anything bad about Iran because they've been needling us cowardly for 47 years. A lot of people call in and say that. If that's what they do, that's what cowards do. It's like that caller before me. That's what cowards, they talk about the bad things when there's not much to talk about, and they lie. It's just like somebody said a while ago, that's a lie what that lady's putting out on her podcast or whatever she's doing, the ding dong. And I mean, we can all speak lies. And you know what? I remember before in somebody's campaign that said, no matter what you say, the truth's always going to win out eventually. And you called her a journalist. And let me tell you something. I take exception to that. Because
no, hold on. I didn't call her a journalist. I said she went to school for journalism, and that was just that was a quick Wikipedia search. She went to Texas Tech University for journalism. I didn't.
And guess what? That could be a lie, right? Probably is.
Could be.
Because journalism dies. I think Murphy said that early on. And Hannity says that journalism is dead the way we knew it. So Thank God for people like you, bro. I don't want to call in and blow you up too much because I disagree with you on Iran. I think we should have gone in. I think we should do what we do. No kidding. And that's ghetto speak sometimes. But I think we need to keep doing it until it's over because it will be over. People are asking me at work, do you think this is ever going to be over? I said, don't listen to those people that say that crap. This is not a forever war, I promise you.
Well, I thought
they want to fight forever.
And I thought one of the most powerful moments from that Wednesday address from President Trump last week was when he laid out the timelines of all these wars that we've been in. And then he closed with, we've only been in this one for 30 days. So, it's easy to blow it out of proportion while we're in it. And I didn't necessarily want to get into this conflict. Now that we're here, I want to get through as quickly as humanly possible, and then we can judge it on the backside. But where we're at right now, we have to support the president, we got to support the military, and let's just plow through this and get to the other side quick.
100%.
Yep.
100%. But here's what my son says: you don't say ex-Marine for some reason. He's a former Marine, whatever. You know what he says? He says we joined so we could do stuff like this. We didn't join haphazardly, where we just raise our hand and hope to get a check.
Yep.
So we have to have confidence and faith in our people because they practice all the time. It's like a doctor and a lawyer has a practice.
I mean, I totally agree with you. I was talking with a friend the other day, and he was like, how many more Americans do we have to lose in this conflict? And I said, I don't know. I said, but not to be cold, and I love our military and I respect our military, but this is kind of what they sign up for. Like, you're not signing up to fold tablecloths. So you're signing up to go into battle. Like, this is an inherent risk when you sign your name on that dotted line.
If I could say this, I'm not bragging, but I joined a long time ago. I wasn't in very long. I was in the Army, and I raised my hand, and it was a little bit scary, to be honest. They put you in this room. They still do it. As far as I know, they still do it over on Trousdale in Nashville, where they ship you off to boot camp. And you have to raise your right hand, and you're standing there with a bunch of, snot-nosed kids a lot of times, and I was one of them. But I wanted to do the delayed entry program so I could have money because my dad had died, and I was struggling financially to get through college. And I wanted to do my due service. I really did. In Israel, I think everybody has to serve.
Yep.
I think that's a rule.
No, yeah, you're 100% right.
It is a patriotic thing. and it's not taken lightly by most people. There are the ones who go in. They used to have what's called fire watch at Paris Island for the Marine Corps, and they used to have to watch some of these kids that played crazy so they could get out of it. So some of them do make mistakes, but 99% of them are in there for the honorable reasons, and we have to pray for them every day.
Amen.
That's all I got, bro. Thank you. Y'all have a great day.
You too, brother. Appreciate you. It's 10:54. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Conservatives for Lower Healthcare Costs. President Trump is doing what politicians have promised for decades but never delivered. He's actually fighting to lower prescription drug costs for American families and seniors. And he's made some big moves. He forced Big Pharma to make deals. He reformed pharmacy benefit managers, and he launched Trump RX. That's the platform to buy medications at dramatically reduced prices. That's real relief for Tennessee families, seniors, and anyone who's ever had to choose between food on the table or a prescription in the cabinet. But right now in Nashville, some politicians are pushing Senate Bill 2040, the so-called Fair Prescription Act. And it sounds reasonable. But if it passes, they say overnight, it could close hundreds of pharmacies across Tennessee, which would mean thousands of jobs are eliminated and over 1.5 million patients are scrambling to find care. Many of these pharmacies serve rural communities where the nearest pharmacy is 30 minutes away. SB 2040 would also cut off mail order delivery, hurting veterans, seniors who can't drive, and the Trump RX program itself. This is big government at its worst, they say, when you try to fix one problem by creating a few more. Conservatives for Lower Healthcare Costs are sounding the alarm. You can learn more and decide for yourself at protecttnrx.com.
All right, drivers in Bellevue, heads up. We got a medical emergency. It is blocking the right 2 lanes, 40 eastbound, right there at Old Hickory Boulevard. Then in Madison, a crash, right shoulder block, 65 southbound before Old Hickory Boulevard. Another Tennessee school bus on the way to a field trip involved in a crash. We'll tell you about it at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Well, looking forward to the headlines with Ken Weaver in less than a minute. Praying for those kids. We don't like to hear that kind of stuff. That's not good news. Kevin Hassett, the National Economic Council director, says that America and the Trump administration is in talks with allies to have them buy a guaranteed amount of oil from America. There could be a lot of positives coming from the situation with the Strait of Hormuz.
The president made a stunning comment the other night in his address to the nation that the U.S. produces more oil and gas than Saudi Arabia and Russia combined. That was pretty incredible. So just to be clear, are you saying that you have received interest from allies across the world to buy oil and gas recently during this Iran conflict?
Right. It's one of the things that people mention in conversation is that if we set up offtake agreements with our allies so that they have a guaranteed supply of U.S. oil, they'd have a much more secure energy supply, and that would be very, very good for reducing the risks that their country faces. And for sure, we've had conversations about that really since the trade negotiations began years ago.
You stressing out about the oil supplies in your country? America's open for business. That's good for us. That's good for our allies. We'll bring you some more economic news from National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett on the way. It's 11 o'clock. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Eleven o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Middle Tennessee, we see that one person's been hospitalized after a crash involving a Rutherford County school bus this morning. Police say the wreck happened on Manchester Pike at Fieldstone Drive. The bus carrying first graders from Buchanan Elementary to a field trip. No students or staff were hurt. The field trip canceled. The pickup truck driver was taken to the hospital. Operation Epic Fury, the Iran foreign minister, says the Strait of Hormuz is open to all ships as long as they coordinate with Iran first. Here's Karen Travers.
This is the short term. What happens in the medium and long term? Who controls the strait? The president telling John Carl that there could be a joint venture between the U.S. and Iran, that they could control this together, maybe even charge tolls. Not clear how that would work, and the White House has not said.
Meanwhile, the Israeli defense minister says Hezbollah is desperate for a ceasefire in Lebanon. The Israeli Defense Forces issuing a new evacuation order for Beirut to get out, and the Lebanon prime minister asking Pakistan to ensure the ceasefire includes Lebanon. New concerns about a powerful new AI model being tested by Anthropic, the company by Claude. ABC's Elizabeth Schultze has details.
Artificial intelligence experts are sounding the alarm after AI giant Anthropic revealed a new model called Mythos that it says is too powerful to release to the public. In a blog post, Anthropic saying, during our testing, we found that Mythos Preview is capable of identifying and then exploiting zero-day vulnerabilities in every major operating system and every major web browser.
Anthropic says during testing, Mythos was able to hack its way out of a secure system that didn't have access to the internet and emailed a researcher. The Artemis II crew is nearing the final moments of their time in space. Tomorrow, the capsule expected to splash down in the Pacific Ocean near San Diego. We get more from ABC's Sam Champion.
The Artemis II crew gets closer to Earth, and we enter a dangerous phase of the mission, re-entry. 5,000-degree temperatures and a heat shield that must stay intact, better than Artemis 1.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, Jerry, guess who's in the Epstein files?
What?
Kramer.
It's 11:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. You can listen to the show anywhere, all the apps, the FM dial. You can watch us as well, YouTube and Rumble. Just search for Super Talk 99.7 WTN and smash the subscribe button. Help us grow the digital footprint of the radio station. It helps all of us. The more subscribers we get, I know I say it all the time, the bigger interviews we'll be able to deliver to you guys in the audience. It's free to do, so if you could help us out, smash that subscribe button. I mean, I feel like we got over 20,000 on Facebook. So why shouldn't we be over 20,000 on YouTube? You know? And what did you ran the numbers just, was it yesterday or a couple days ago? It was like 70% of the people that watch us religiously aren't subscribed.
70% are subscribed. 30% of our audience don't watch. Subscribe.
Step it up.
Step it up.
Hit subscribe.
Just a button. It's free.
It's free to do. It's only a button. Have you ever clicked a mouse?
Easy.
That's all the effort it takes.
Because then you also get notified when we go live.
And that helps when there's severe weather, just to be perfectly honest with you.
Or breaking news.
Breaking news. Sometimes news breaks.
Dude, you guys jumped in so fast when the assassination attempt happened on Trump.
Dude,
everybody got notified.
That was a crazy day.
Yeah.
So dude, do you remember where you were that day? Like, that's one of those times where, like,
here.
I literally remember exactly where I was. My mom and dad had just flown in to, like, visit us, and I was standing in the kitchen, and I just dropped a string of expletives. And my wife was like, "You okay? Like, that's not normal."
Yeah.
And I was like, "They just tried to kill the president. He might be dead. I got to go." Yeah. Just, like, walked out of the house and came right to the radio station.
Yeah, I transitioned with the producer that was taking over for the afternoon shift and was in the parking lot, and I turned on the radio to make sure everything transitioned over properly on the station, and I heard you guys all hopping on, and I went, "What is going on?" And I heard it, and I jumped back into the building.
Spooky stuff.
Yeah, it was a wild day.
That was a crazy day. And then before we got off the air, they had hosed off the roof. Because reasons.
Found a rifle hiding in the bushes, allegedly.
It's just reasons.
Reasons.
Don't look into it. Don't even worry about it. He'll be fine.
Yeah, give more attention to Luigi Mangione, right?
Oh, my gosh. I mean, there are people out there, like the black-pilled conservatives of the world. Like, who was it? I saw some tweet, and it was from, like, a doomer, and he was like, "I wish Trump hadn't turned his head."
Jeez.
And it's like, I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like, so you're going to lose your cool over one political issue? You know what I mean? The guy has done so much positive for this country. And I still believe that by the time we get through this conflict and we get to midterms, the economy is going to be booming. And this is what we signed up for. Like, we signed up to roll with this guy. You can disagree with him on one topic or another, and that's fine. But to just go full black pill and be like, "Oh, we would have been better off with Kamala," I think it's just retarded. Like, what are you doing? Honestly. People blow my mind with that stuff. And meanwhile, we actually have good economic news. You heard Kevin Hassett a little while ago. I played you the clip where he said, our allies are going to be lining up to buy guaranteed supply of U.S. oil because they're a bit stressing right now. They're biting their nails. And if you're going to be held hostage by a country like Iran in the Strait of Hormuz and things are going to get difficult for you, we're a net exporter. You can buy the oil from us, and then you don't have to stress. Why not? Who says no? But it's not just that for positive news. The White House currently expects the U.S. economy to grow at 4 to 5%, says Kevin Hassett.
Last time I said that because AI is creating so much productivity, because President Trump's policies, the dereg and the taxes are causing an investment boom that considers or continues right to this day. You know, we just got advanced durables numbers that said that orders for capital goods and shipments of capital goods are at an all-time high. All of that is happening because of optimism that President Trump not only will resolve this in the short term, but in the long term, his policies are going to create a golden age. And so I began the year with a guess that we'd probably be in the 4 to 5 range for economic growth because of all this. And I'll stick by those numbers. I think this is a temporary a distraction that will very, very quickly go away. You saw that when you saw the market celebrate yesterday when they thought that this would be over. I think our excellent negotiating team will finish the job, and then we'll be back on track to one of the best years ever.
That's all we want. Let's get back on track. Let's get the oil prices back down low. Let's get the stock market booming. And we saw it. We saw it for a blip there when the ceasefire was announced. Oil prices come down 15 to 20%. We saw the stock market absolutely surge. It's hit a hiccup today because of the lack of traffic, the limited traffic that is going through the Strait of Hormuz. But as you heard in Ken Weaver's newscast, 12 minutes ago, they've opened that back up fully as long as you coordinate with the Iranians. Not a huge fan of that, but let's get things rolling and let's get this backup cleared. That is a good thing, and I do believe in this administration and what they're doing for the economy, and part of that is because I've seen them do it before. So why can't they do it again? Also, we could see interest rates falling here shortly because Jerome Powell is expected to step down from the Federal Reserve after his term as chair expires, according to Kevin Hassett.
Whether or not Jay Powell's going to leave. Maybe he'll just stay on the board, unless this investigation into Jay Powell goes away. So can you really be sure that Kevin Warsh is going to start as chairman of the Fed May 15th?
I'm highly confident that will happen and that we'll work something out with Senator Tillis that satisfies him. And I think the reason we do that is it's so important that such an excellent man get there to the Fed. In terms of Jay Powell, he's really signaled that once there's a confirmed Fed chair that he'll step aside, and that's the appropriate thing for him to do.
And so you're not expecting him to stay on the board?
No, I am not.
Because, have you spoken with Tom Tillis?
I have over the years, but not about this specific matter, yeah.
Okay. In terms of the balance sheet of the Federal Reserve, what are your expectations?
So Kevin Hassett says, we don't expect Jerome Powell to stick around. We're going to replace him with our guy. And once they do that, interest rates are going to come down. That means more money in your pocket. This is a good thing. Kevin Hassett went on to say that there is a lot of money coming in because of the tariffs and the amount of jobs that are being created in this country. It isn't federal workers. One of the things that the Biden administration did is they propped up a lot of their job numbers with government jobs. The Trump administration has eliminated 300,000 federal workers.
What are the efforts in terms of cutting spending right now, Kevin?
Oh, well, absolutely, we've made a huge amount of progress. And I think the biggest thing that we can point to is that we've cut government employment by, more than 300,000 workers.
Huge.
And those are jobs that are very high paying that are gone forever. And that reduces government spending by, unthinkable amounts of money, maybe as much as $1 trillion over the next 10 years. We reduced the deficit last year by $600 billion because of higher growth than people thought the tariff revenue and more supply side effect of the tax cuts. That's the kind of thing that we expect to see year after year after year. But if you wonder whether we're serious, look at the cut in federal government employment and understand that that's something that is in the baseline now, and it's a cut that's going to be there for each of the next 10 years.
I'm here for it. Cut the spending as much as we can. Another big aspect of this is going to be the anti-fraud task force that J.D. Vance is at the helm of. They're saying that J.D. Vance's anti-fraud task force just identified $6.3 billion in potentially fraudulent contracts. And what they're saying is they now have 30 days to prove that those contracts are legit, or you and I, the taxpayer, we get a nice refund and that money is coming back. This was just announced on Fox News a little while ago with Bill Hemmer, but we're here for it.
Vance's new anti-fraud task force claiming it's uncovered nearly $6.3 billion in questionable government contracts. The task force has sent out letters to about 400 companies asking for proof that they are legitimate. Aisha Hasni's on this, live in Washington. What you find out, Aisha?
Hey, good morning to you, Bill. So it's potentially a huge loss for you, the taxpayer, but it is a win in that if there is fraud here, it will stop. The fraud czar, J.D. Vance, and his task force have found that the federal government was apparently handing out contracts to potentially fraudulent businesses.
Insane.
Now the task force is giving these companies 30 days to prove that they are indeed real, and they're demanding things like handing over a physical address, or they risk losing their contract.
How this was even allowed to get to the point where contracts were signed when we didn't have a physical address on record is insane.
Come on, man.
Honestly, blame the guy that was in charge the last 4 years, the resident, Joe Biden.
Come on, man.
I'm just saying. $6.3 billion in fraudulent contracts. We don't even have an address. What?
A spokesperson told Fox, if fraudsters are robbing hardworking Americans of their tax dollars and services, we will find them. And there is a lot of pressure on this White House right now to root out fraud. New Fox News polling shows 53% of Americans actually say government spending is wasteful, and that is up nearly 10 points from last year when Doge was out there doging.
So they put this graph up on the screen on Fox News, and the question that they pose is how much government spending is wasteful, and there's 4 options: not much, some, a great deal, almost all. Not much comes in at 3%, some comes in at 22%. A great deal of government spending being wasteful, 53%. Almost all, you can put me in that camp, 22%. I feel like the almost all is rookie numbers. We're going to have to get those numbers up because I think that you can make the case that almost all government spending is wasteful.
Just last week, VP Vance swore in the first ever Assistant Attorney General for National Fraud Enforcement with this message to scammers everywhere.
It's going to make fraudsters know that they're going to suffer some consequences, and it's going to make the American people know that these programs are being protected for the people who need them, because there are a lot of them out there. We want to help them, but we've got to get rid of the fraud in order to do it.
And Bill, the acting AG Todd Blanche also launched the new National Fraud Enforcement Division, so much more to come.
Yeah, and one of the places that you can look is California. We've seen the Nick Shirley reporting, which was wild. We saw it in Minnesota as well. But they say that what we're going to see in California is going to blow Minnesota out of the water. In fact, Chris Rufo just exposed that California, Gavin Newsom's California, is running a $30 billion fraud program meant for home care, and up to 40% of that is fraudulent. That means that $6 to $12 billion a year is being lost to fraud. And the reason that they can get away with this is it's all operated on the honor system. Because what could go wrong with that, right? It's the honor system. Nobody would ever mess with the honor system, right? Chris Rufo on Fox News.
Find out about this, and what was the scam?
So the scam is California's in-home supported services or in-home care program. It spends about $30 billion a year. It's one of the state's largest programs. And it pays 800,000 Californians to stay home, mostly with relatives, to take care of them, to cook, clean, watch television. On the surface, it's compassionate. You're taking care of your grandfather or a child with disabilities. But experts say, and this is dating back to the Schwarzenegger administration, and getting worse and worse and worse, that between 20 and 40% of this program is just pure fraud. Fraudulent timesheets, fraudulent billing. It operates on the honor system, and experts say it's losing between $6 and $12 billion a year to people who are taking this compassionate program and ripping it off.
Are you shocked? Of course not. It operates on the honor system. You don't have to do anything except sign the paperwork, send it in, and get a check. Why wouldn't people take advantage of this program, and why didn't they think to put some safeguards in place? Or maybe that was part of the design the entire time.
All right, we're going to put that up on the board for everyone to see. The number is because it's between $6 and $12 billion with a B dollars a year. So he was asked about this back in January 29th, and this is what he said.
2021, we did a moratorium on new hospice program. 280 we shuttered. We've been after this for years and years and years. We want an open hand, not a closed fist. We absolutely are here to be a partner to go after waste, fraud, and abuse. No one's denying these issues, but let's also not deny this is purely political.
I love how Gavin Newsom says, we've been going after this fraud for years and years and years. You've also been going after the homeless crisis for years and years and years. That's only gotten worse, too. So why would we be shocked if the fraud is getting worse under your careful watch, Mr. Governor?
How would you respond to that?
Well, of course, that's not true. Gavin Newsom, despite all of these concerns from Democrats and Republicans, actually has expanded the program at every turn and dismantled enforcement mechanisms.
Oh, good.
And the question is, why is he doing so? One reason is because this is now California's largest single occupation. This in-home care program, subsidized by taxpayers, represents about half of all new jobs created under Newsom. He wants to keep that number up, but also because these in-home care providers give about $150 million a year to the labor unions, which are, of course, Gavin Newsom's #1 kind of political power base.
Oh, so it's about kickbacks. Weird. It's a crazy time, man, and it seems like the Trump administration is doing a lot of good things. Despite what the black pill doomer conservatives will tell you when it comes to the war with Iran, there's a lot more going on in the Trump administration. They are walking and chewing gum at the exact same time. It's 11:22. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, drivers, we got stuff in the way. Over here in Bellevue, we had a medical emergency. It is off on the right shoulder now, 40 eastbound at Old Hickory Boulevard. Then at the eastern split, rolling roadblock, right lane block for some pothole repair. That's going to be 24 eastbound at I-40. Another crash involving a school bus on a field trip in Middle Tennessee. We'll get you the details on that at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. 26 minutes past the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Find us on YouTube and Rumble. Smash the subscribe button. Help us grow the digital footprint of the radio station. It's free to do, and we appreciate you doing it. Mark in Nashville wants more Leering centers. Who doesn't, Mark? What's up, man?
Not much. You said it all. I mean, Alex hear it.
What was that?
The only way is to shut down the whole government, per se, because every branch of it's screwed up.
To a certain extent, you're not wrong. And I appreciate the call, Mark. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986 if you want to join the conversation. A lot of stuff to get to. We've been talking about the Iran situation. We talked about the economy a little bit. We talked about fraud. The fraud stuff is absolutely insane. Nick Shirley is working on a California Part 2, and I'm very excited to see what that looks like. Because his reporting has been unbelievable. In fact, Nick Shirley's reporting in California was so good on the hospice fraud that major networks like CBS started duplicating and replicating the work that he was doing. And not bad for some alt-right YouTuber. Meanwhile, we have more discussions going on with the ceasefire deals, and after discussions with President Trump, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu just began direct negotiations to calm down attacks in Lebanon, according to Axios. And this is a good thing. We do know that missiles stopped flying into Israel last night, and this is part and parcel for what we thought might happen with the ceasefire, that their communications had been degraded to such a standard that it's going to take a minute. Or they might want to just hit one more lick before they call it a day. Either of those could have been true, but it appears that as of now, no more missiles are being fired. That's a good sign, and that traffic is starting to resume as normal in the Strait of Hormuz, though they got to coordinate with Iran in the meantime. It's a wild story. Another wild story for you is going to be the first one up in the lightning round. Irina Zarutska back in the news for all the wrong reasons. What an activist judge, and I say an activist judge because I don't know how you could paint it any other way, did for the murderer of Irina Zarutska is absolutely insane. We're going to jump into the lightning round with that story next, and we got a lot more stories on the way. We'll talk about Irina Zarutska and what's happening there. We'll also talk about, we got some good ones. We'll talk about Abigail Spanberger. We'll talk about the FSU school shooting and how AI could have influenced it. And we'll also talk about an absolute hero of a principal and what he did to be hailed as a hero on the way. Great stories. Hang out with us at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. Right now in Middle Tennessee, another crash involving a school bus on a field trip. A pickup truck driver injured in this crash. It was a Rutherford County school bus there in Murfreesboro. The collision happened on Manchester Pike near Fieldstone Drive, according to police. School bus was transporting first graders to a field trip. No students or school staff were injured. The only person injured was the pickup driver. The Tennessee Highway Patrol investigating what caused that crash. Meanwhile, News Channel 5 doing some digging says personnel records reveal new details about the school bus driver involved in the deadly Kenwood Middle School crash. Documents showed the driver had no prior disciplinary actions and passed all required medical exams, though she was under periodic medical monitoring. The crash on March 27th killed 2 students, Ariana Pearson and Zoe Davis. Tennessee Highway Patrol investigation continues. Operation Epic Fury, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has authorized direct negotiations with Lebanon to begin, quote, as soon as possible to focus on disarming Hezbollah and establishing peaceful relations between Israel and Lebanon. Here's Karen Travers.
Vice President Vance is leading the U.S. delegation that will also include Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and the president's son-in-law Jared Kushner. But now we're hearing from Iran almost some doubt that this could go forward under the current circumstances, given Israel's ongoing strikes against Lebanon. The Iranian deputy foreign minister says, "We hope that America could control its ally," referring to Israel as they call on the U.S. to get Israel to call off these strikes.
For now, the Iran foreign minister says the Strait of Hormuz is open to all ships that coordinate with Iran. Way over our heads, the Artemis II crew ready for their day today. Today's wake-up call, Lonesome Drifter by Charlie Crockett.
Lean on me, brother, 'cause I understand. You got that 9-pound hammer swinging in your hand. I'm just...
Now, the capsule expected to splash down in the Pacific Ocean near San Diego tomorrow. The re-entry period is a dangerous one as crew members are going to be dealing with 5,000-degree temperatures. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WDN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hanford. Conservatives for lower health care costs. President Trump is doing what politicians have promised for decades but never delivered, actually fighting to lower prescription drug costs for American families and our seniors. And he's forced Big Pharma to make deals. He's reformed pharmacy benefit managers, and he launched Trump RX. That's the platform to buy medications at dramatically reduced prices. That's real relief for Tennessee families, seniors, and anyone who's ever had to choose between a prescription and paying the light bill. But right now in Nashville, some politicians are pushing Senate Bill 2040, the so-called Fair Prescription Act, and it sounds reasonable, but they say if it passes, it would force closures of hundreds of pharmacies across Tennessee overnight. And this is my big issue. That means thousands of jobs eliminated and over 1.5 million patients scrambling to find care. Many of these pharmacies serve rural communities where the nearest pharmacy is 30 minutes away. SB 2040 would also cut off mail order delivery. That hurts veterans. That hurts seniors who can't drive. And it hurts the Trump RX program itself. This is big government at its worst when you try to solve a problem by creating a few more. Conservatives for lower health care costs are sounding the alarm. Learn more and decide for yourself at protecttnrx.com. God help us. 37 minutes past the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. You can listen to it on all the apps, the FM dial. You can watch it. Super Talk TV on YouTube and Rumble. So what I like to do during the commercial breaks is, I don't share the memes. I speak the memes. So we have Mason and Ryan has been training on producing the show. He's been doing a pretty good job.
Thank you.
So what I'll do is I'll see an inappropriate meme, and then we have a handy-dandy intercom button, which keeps the conversation off the air between just us. So I saw this meme, and it's a little old. But it was pretty good. So I decided to speak the meme to these guys, and it's from when the OnlyFans owner died. So it said. OnlyFans owner Leonid Radvinsky has died at 43. And that was the original tweet. And somebody quote tweeted it and said, open casket funeral, but you got to pay extra to see his feet.
What can I say? I was tickled by the foot joke.
But Ryan, who's training, he didn't hit the intercom button. He turned his mic on, and during the Credit Karma commercial, he said, God help us. God help us. Hey, man, it could have been worse. It could have been a lot worse. People be making mistakes. It's all right. All right. So, open casket funeral, but you got to pay extra to see his feet. It's funny. It's funny. It's very funny. My favorite OnlyFans owner died meme was the one where Chuck Norris was guarding the gates of heaven in a karate suit. It's like, not today, pal. Not today. Full judo moves. All right, enough about memes that we're speaking. Speaking memes. That should be a bit that Dan Mandis would steal from us. We speak memes.
Come on, man.
Just saying. It's time for the lightning round.
It's the lightning round. With Chris Hand.
We do it every day at this time. All the stories that we didn't have a chance to get to, stories that might not fill a whole segment, stories that are infuriating or funny, and stories that we want to talk about. We like to call it the lightning round. There it is. Did you hear Murphy? He's jacking more bits. It's funny.
Murphy's jacking more bits?
He's jacking the bits. Sorry. He started a new segment on his show yesterday. You know what he called it? The Thunder Round. Everybody knows that's lightning. Many will duplicate. Many will imitate. None are as good as the original.
But could a blind man tell the difference?
That's a good question. I don't know. It's the lightning round, though. We do lightning here. First story in the lightning round. I think this is absolutely infuriating. I'm sure you will too. The suspect behind the Irina Zarutska murder, DeCarlos Brown Jr., incapable to proceed to trial. What's that, you say? He was capable the first 14 times when he became a convicted felon, when he was arrested and charged. But number 15 is a bridge too far, apparently. In a motion that was filed on Tuesday, it was revealed that DeCarlos Brown Jr., the man who was arrested and charged with first-degree murder after Zarutska's death, had undergone an evaluation at Central Regional Hospital, and Brown was found incapable to proceed. A report from December 29th, 2025 said, according to the outlet, per the outlet, Brown's public defender is asking the court to continue the case, and the Mecklenburg County District Attorney Office agreed that the case should be continued. Is it just me? When did North Carolina fall? Like, I saw the fall of New York in real time. I witnessed the fall of Minnesota. California, yeah, nobody was shocked, right? When did North Carolina fall? How did we miss this? North Carolina has fallen. In case you aren't keeping score at home, this case exemplifies that.
We're learning
DeCarlos Brown Jr., the felon charged with the murder of Irina Zarutska on a North Carolina light rail, has been found incapable to proceed with trial. The decision comes after a mental health evaluation. So DeCarlos Brown has a string of prior charges dating back more than a decade, including a felony, larceny, and robbery with a dangerous weapon. Brown's lawyers are now asking the court to push back a scheduled April 30th hearing for another 6 months. It's pretty unbelievable. How many times can this man continue to commit crimes and be judged incapable of being accountable for his crimes? It's not just larceny. It's not just robbery. Now it's cold-blooded murder.
He was capable enough to stab an innocent woman on a light rail train in Charlotte, North Carolina. I think he should be capable enough to stand trial. I mean, he was competent enough to murder her. Is he not competent enough now? He was competent enough to stand trial the first 14 times he was arrested. But this one is too much. Where is the mainstream media on this story? Where are all of our Democrat friends? I was under the impression that Democrats really valued refugees and they really valued Ukraine. Yet this story seems to have little to no interest with our friends on the left or in the mainstream media. Absolutely insane. The reaction has been anger, understandably so. Mind you, this is the same woman who is having her murals taken down in liberal states like Rhode Island, while murals of George Floyd get to stand strong. It's gross and it's disgusting, and I'm ashamed to say that this is the current state of the justice system in North Carolina. We'll keep you updated on this story as it moves forward, and hopefully we see a change here after the public backlash. If there's enough public backlash, there should be, because Irina Zarutska deserves justice, just like everyone who has to deal with this crime in these major cities. It's ridiculous. Absolutely gross. DeCarlos Brown Jr. should be going wood chipper feet first, but, you know, hey, you got to deal with the court system.
Get them out. Throw them out into the coat. Don't give them their coat. No coat.
No coats. I got another story for you here in the lightning round. This one is about the Florida State University shooter. If you recall, this story happened, what was it? April of 2025, so a year ago. Man, that's crazy how fast that happened. But the man accused of perpetrating the deadly shooting at Florida State University in April of 2025 was in constant contact with ChatGPT while planning the attack, according to attorneys representing one of the victims' families who plan to sue OpenAI. The New York Post reports that the attorneys for the family of Robert Morales, one of two people killed in the mass shooting at Florida State University, claim the alleged shooter used the AI chatbot ChatGPT to help plan the attack. The law firm Brooks, LaBeouf, Foster, Gwertney, and Hobbs announced plans to file a lawsuit against OpenAI, seeking to hold them accountable for their client's death. I think that there should be some red flag warnings in those systems if you're planning a shooting, right? Shouldn't there be some alarm bells ringing? We're also learning that the Florida Attorney General has launched an investigation into ChatGPT and OpenAI after they allegedly facilitated this shooting. This is a big development and one that I'm interested to see how it plays out in a court of law. This is Florida's Attorney General.
I'm Attorney General James Uffmeyer. Today we are launching an investigation into OpenAI. The development and rollout of artificial intelligence is a monumental leap in technology, but it has not been without concern for public safety and national security. AI is built on its ability to gather data, and there are concerns about whether OpenAI's data and AI technologies that could be used against America are falling into the hands of America's enemies, such as the Chinese Communist Party. OpenAI's ChatGPT has also been linked to criminal behavior, including child sex abuse material, use by child predators, and the encouragement of suicide and self-harm. We've also learned that ChatGPT may likely have been used to assist the murderer in the recent mass school shooting at Florida State University that tragically took 2 lives.
After you hear him speak about what the evil ChatGPT is doing, why are we even allowing this stuff? Like, I mean, just being perfectly honest, child sex abuse materials, encouraging suicide, helping plan mass shootings. Like, what are we doing here, and what are the safeguards? This is what the investigation, I'm sure, is going to roll out. And I would assume that this will lead to more safeguards in the future. James Othmeyer, the Attorney General for Florida, continues.
AI should exist to supplement, support, and advance mankind, not lead to an existential crisis or our ultimate demise. As big tech rolls out these technologies, they should not, they cannot put our safety and security at risk. We support innovation, but that doesn't give any company the right to endanger our children, facilitate criminal activity, empower America's enemies, or threaten our national security. Companies that do so will be held accountable to the fullest extent.
Amen. And they should be. We'll keep you updated on that case as it moves along and that investigation. As we get updates, we'll bring them to you. A lot of downers in the lightning round, so the next story is going to be a bit of an upper. Next story in the lightning round. That's good. That's good. That's quick with the lightning. I like it. Oklahoma State principal Kirk Moore. He is the principal at Pauls Valley High School. Not a young whippersnapper by any stretch of the imagination. I would say he's in his 60s or in his 70s, just judging from the photo. You tell me what you think if you're watching on Super Talk TV as we get this video rolled up. He's being declared a hero all over the country today because he tackled a would-be school shooter and stopped what would have been a massacre at his high school. God bless him.
We've been telling a very different story today. Principal Moore didn't do what he did here yesterday. Now, I spoke with his pastor today, and he says that he was at the hospital. He went to go see the principal yesterday. He prayed with him, and he said he is expected to be okay. He said that the bullet just kind of grazed his knee, but everybody's grateful after what happened.
That was a very heroic act.
The heroic act that has the Pauls Valley community grateful for Principal Kirk Moore tonight, jumping into action and tackling the former student who investigators say tried to kill him and other students.
He is definitely the type of guy to do that. Some student was to get harmed, he would definitely take a bullet for him. I believe that.
That's what other grads say about him.
As soon as the bell rang and all the students were going to class, he was outside the office. He interacted with students in the lobby. He was friendly.
We also spoke to some who knew him most of his life.
Probably 55 years longer.
Harold Markham and Principal Moore went to school together and both graduated from Pauls Valley themselves. Long before he came back to coach, then later lead as assistant principal before becoming principal in 2021. Harold says what he did Tuesday just speaks to the type of person he is.
He's just a great guy. He really is. He really knows the kids. I'd lost a son about 4 years ago, and he set up the whole high school and everything for his funeral.
This is a look at a memorial the principal made for Harold's son. It sits in a courtyard on campus. The principal showing sympathy when it was needed and strength when the situation calls for that, too.
Yeah, I mean, absolute strength. So this guy comes in, the principal tackles him, takes a bullet to the knee. Absolute boss move. He was willing to give his life for those kids. Shout out to Principal Kirk Moore of Pauls Valley High School in Oklahoma. Absolute hero of the day. Got time for one more story in the lightning round. This one is about the Commonwealth of Virginia. And Abigail Spanberger, a lot of people are regretting voting for her, the moderate Democrat. That's how she campaigned. Yet she got into office and she increased taxes and she canceled cooperation with ICE. Now, she was asked how she felt about being the most unpopular Virginia governor in the 21st century after she has been letting illegal aliens kill Virginians. And she had this to say.
Ma'am, earlier this week, there was a pull-up that had your numbers a little unfavorable, and then your predecessor, Glenn, was making a podcast run earlier this week to taking a couple jabs at you. I guess overall, on your numbers, what do you attribute that to, and then what would you say back to Glenn?
I would say, if everybody hated me, why is everybody putting my face on their mailers for the referendum?
Oh. If everybody hated me, why are they using my face on their mailers? I bet you Republicans are using your face on mailers, too. I would if I was a Republican in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Here's the issue with Abigail Spanberger. It is the exorbitant amount of new taxes and the fact that she is not cooperating with ICE any longer in the state of Virginia. And even crazier is this stat that Fox News just pulled out. 75% of all murders in Fairfax, Virginia this year have been committed by, you guessed it, illegal aliens.
Out of the 4 murders in Fairfax County, Virginia so far this year have been allegedly at the hands of illegal immigrants, including a stabbing at a bus stop, a machete hacking of a man in his own home, and a beating murder of a 3-month-old infant. And just last week, a Haitian illegal alien caught and released at the border, then granted TPS by the Biden administration, was arrested after he was caught on video using a hammer to brutally bludgeon a gas station clerk to death in a seemingly random attack. The victim was a mother of 2, and several GOP politicians are outraged about it. Senator Jim Banks writing, quote, "Another innocent life taken by a violent illegal allowed into our country by Joe Biden. We must deport every illegal." Senator Tommy Tuberville writing, quote, "Reminder, DHS has been shut down for 52 days because Democrats refuse to fund the agencies responsible for detaining and deporting these animals. He should have never been in our country in the first place." And Bill, back out here live. Today's ICE press conference is set to kick off at 11 a.m., and we do expect to hear from the families, those angel families who have lost loved ones, again, at the hands of illegal immigrants.
Why is Abigail Spanberger so unpopular? Oh, geez. Nobody knows. It's 11:53. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Back pain, neck pain, sciatica, herniated or bulging discs, spinal stenosis. All of it could be fixed today with my man, Dr. Mitch, over at the Wellness Institute. 47% off spinal decompression right now at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. And they're the first and only office in the state of Tennessee with the brand new HydroWave technology. This is going to stimulate your stem cells for real healing at the cellular level. On top of that, it's the most advanced tech in all of the country. Robotic lasers, anti-gravity machines, cryotherapy, and more. This is why Dr. Mitchell needs to be your doctor. Grab your MRI. He'll break it down for you in a way that you can understand. He'll take x-rays if needed, and he'll walk you through exactly what's happening and give you a real treatment plan to fix the pain for good. You can get back to a pain-free life. It is within reach. It starts with a phone call, 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009, or find them online, painisbad.com. 11:58, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Mason Fleming producing. Ryan did a good job training today. Ken Weaver's in the newsroom. Chad Benson's in studio. What's up, man?
What's up, man?
What are you paying attention to today?
Oh, God, I don't know. AI. Anthropic and their new, we can't release it because every hacker in the world would figure out how their new Claude they have, it can basically hack your computer. And they have tested it. It's gone back 27 years to find like worms and things that other like software and stuff has put in there.
Really?
It is, yeah. So they're like, we cannot release it because if we did, you might as well just give out your passwords for every company on the planet.
Really?
So they're like, yeah, it's kind of no. So we're going to have to figure this out.
We did an AI story, too, a little while ago.
Which one was it?
It was helping plan school shootings at FSU. ChatGPT.
How'd that go?
2 people died. So my thing is, like, if you're plugging that stuff in, why doesn't OpenAI or ChatGPT have, like, hey, this is probably a bad idea. Somebody should look into this feature.
They said it broke out from an air jail. It was able to get out, like it was a secure environment, and it was able to bust out of it.
Oh, it jumped. It basically jumped the fence.
Spooky.
Because you ask it weird questions, and then it leads you in that direction, and then that's how you get it to jump the fence. I would never do something like that. Nobody I know would. But if you were to do something like that, how would that work? And then it's, I wouldn't do either. But if you were to, next thing you know, whoop, there it goes.
And then it just becomes racist, too.
Yes.
They all end up becoming racist. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. It's just it's interesting.
Hashtag AI things.
It's coming, though, and fast. It's coming fast.
I don't know about this, fellas.
I love Ken. That's Ken's one line in every movie we're ever going to do. I don't know about this, fellas.
Well, that's all we need. And with the advancements of AI, we could have him do a whole script. He could do a whole monologue based off that one sentence.
100%.
He could just mimic it.
I don't know about this. Hey, take this and write me a Hallmark movie.
Yeah, exactly. Chad's in next. It's 12 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.